Defense made a motion for a mistrial. Prosecutor was up to some fuckery. Potentially damaging evidence, no basis for it. The judge specifically said, do not ask that question. Do not use that as evidence. She walked right down the path and asked the question. It may be over on Tuesday morning. Batman Bruce Wayne bitch snitch. Gerald Brooks, your constitution does not apply to me because I'm a sovereign citizen, a traveler on the land, I'm from the Morn Empire or whatever, bitch snitch. Because they're so fucking absurd. If you want to be a sovereign citizen, just do yourself a favor first. Go to YouTube here and then just get every sovereign citizen that's ever been before. Find me one that won. God dang, you're right. Don't go down this. It's not the path. Don't have time for stupidity. Some clever dick on the internet didn't find the great loophole in all of the world's law. Bitch snitch. God dang, you're right. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. Moorish Empire, traveler on the land, bitch snitch, Moorish Empire, God dang, you're right, traveler on the land, bitch snitch, the late evening U.S. people. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everybody, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, however good it feels, however many times you're going to do it and why you're doing it in the first place. I don't care. I'm just glad you're here. Welcome to Legal Vices. This is the channel where law meets life. This is the channel where we dissect the cases that are gripping the world, from the high-profile cases that dominate the headlines to these hidden little gems that you might never have heard of before. I'm here to break them all down for you. I am the lawfluencer extraordinaire, where you handle these things in ways that are engaging, a little bit of enlightenment, occasionally some irreverence in there, and criminal trials, legal battles. You know, whether it's making the headlines in the courtroom dramas or just little news stories we pick up here and there. Anything else that comes our way, we break down the facts, the legal twists, the shocking developments, the jaw-dropping moments that you need to know about. Are you ready to dive into the world of justice, crime, and controversy? Because today is the day. Today is the day that Sarah Boone takes the stand. It's going to be a wild ride, so buckle up, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because we are your front row seat to the law's most gripping stories, which today, again, is Sarah Boone taking the stand. What we're going to do here is we are going to be watching yesterday at 1.25 speed, yesterday afternoon. It'll take us about an hour and 15 minutes to get through, and that's just about the time that we should be ready to start live with the court, hopefully. So we're not going to be very much behind. We're only going to be a few minutes behind, so we don't have a lot of time to do things. Everybody, go up to the top there, generate your bingo card. It's pinned in chat. It's pinned up there in Rumble and YouTube. Download your bingo card, click generate, read through it. Whenever one of those things on the bingo card happens or is said, you mark it off. We don't have time to go through it all today, but mods will help you work through it. If you have any questions about the bingo card, just ask, and the mods will give you the answer. Wow, people. We are waiting for the one and only Jules to ring in here to give us a little 5-minute update on what happened yesterday. And then we are going to leap straight into this. While we're waiting for that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. We've currently got 248 people here, 255 now, and 114 likes. And we have our like and subscribe poll set up today. Today, the day Sarah Boone takes the stand, about probably a good Oh, never mind. We have our person here now. Let's see. Let's accept this call. And let me share the screen here. Let me share the screen with people, Jules. Give me one quick second. Share screen. Share screen, share screen, share screen. Where is the share screen? Let's see. I know my camera is being used by another app. We need to share the screen. Share the window. If we do that, we don't get it. We need the audio. Where's the audio? All right, I'm going to have to give me 1 second while I clear off everything that's on this one screen. And let's see, move this on over here. And we will bring up and embiggen the one and only right here. Share the audio. Jules. What's up, Jules? Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I am good. We'll only keep you here about 5 minutes because I know you've got to stand in a line of 843 billion people to get in the courtroom.
I have a secret entrance now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good for you. Jules is one of our amazing mods here in chat. She's a courtroom monitor extraordinaire in all the high profile cases on the Eastern Seaboard. She's there for each and every one of them. She's Jules, and she is in the Sarah Boone trial, and she's going to answer some questions for us about yesterday. We're gonna watch the afternoon session on accelerated speed. So well, first of all, when we start this, one of the first things we're going to see is someone get thrown out of the courtroom. We're glad it wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
Someone's going to get tossed out of the courtroom on their ear. What is it? What happened?
There's a little bit of a backstory to that, Jeff. It actually started before the stream started. The woman came into the courtroom and she took a seat on the defense side in the back row, and for no reason she just started yelling out, "I need readers, I can't find my readers, does anybody have readers?" I mean, it was bad. And
wow.
Yeah, and so the deputy had to tell her to be quiet. Now, this was before court even started. People were rolling in after the lunch break. So
okay, because the judge did mention that in the morning he said there was some noise being said. There was so all right.
Yeah. Well, then court starts, and Sarah, they bring Sarah in, and then she yells something like, "This is the Sarah Boone trial," or something to that effect. It was very hard to understand her. So she was reprimanded for that. And then, there was a sidebar, and that's when both sides went up. And then Judge Cranick called the deputy up there, the one that spoke to this woman twice. And I come to find, well, I'm not going to say what I found out, but in any case,
okay.
when it was over, he preached, he said about people have to be quiet, no outbursts, and then he said, "And please remove your sunglasses." And that was to her.
Oh, the same person.
It was the same person.
All right.
And so then they both teams go back to their tables, and then she did something else, and it was overheard. And so Mr. J called another sidebar, and then after that is when Judge Cranick told her she had to leave. And instead of leaving right away, she got up and she got into the aisle, and she started walking towards, like up the aisle. And she was
don't
preaching.
Do that. There's lots of guns. Don't do that.
Yeah. She was preaching and about Jesus, and Jesus loves everybody, and and then she decided she was going to bless everybody in the courtroom, so she had to be escorted out.
All right. Wow. Well, that was our big question. We need to get this little show on the road here, so we'll let you get into court. I'll get this thing on the road, but are you going to join us for lunch after Sarah Boone testifies?
I certainly will.
Yes.
My best. I have a feeling she's going to be on there for quite some time. As I told you yesterday, I messaged you first thing in the morning that as soon as Mr. Owens came up to me to give me the heads up on, what was happening. So she was told, Mr. Owens was told by the judge yesterday to make sure Sarah was ready to go between 10 and 10:30, the state
Yep.
is going to rest. So we're in for a show. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to head on in there.
All right.
And everybody enjoy your day.
And I will talk to you at lunch.
Okie dokie.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Thank you so much, Jules. Ladies,
welcome.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the one and only Jules live from the courthouse. She's going to be going in the courtroom here. Let's see. We got to stop sharing this. And now what we're going to do is we are going to get straight, as soon as I rearrange all my windows, we are going to get straight into yesterday afternoon's testimony, 1.25 speed. There is a bunch we get to skip over, so we're not going to really miss much. And it's not going to take very long to catch up today either. So thank you again very much, Jules, for that. Our inside the court reporter. That's the inside scoop on what happened. We're going to be watching that part of the hearing right now. We're going to pick it up at the lunch break. They're coming back from the lunch break, and the what Jules just talked about happened. I hope you all have your official Sarah Boone cocktail, the Boone Tang suitcase. It's vodka Tang, just mixed up with some ice. It's the Boone Tang suitcase cocktail, the official cocktail of the Sarah Boone trial. And as we talked about, she was denied snack. We're not denied snacks. We can have snacks. One of the snacks she specifically requested was Pop-Tarts. And she doesn't get Pop-Tarts, but guess what? I do. I've got Pop-Tarts. I've got the toasted blueberry, the frosted blueberry Pop-Tarts. That's the Sarah Boone forbidden snack of the day. So, so there we go. And I will say, I have not had Pop-Tarts. I had to get these specially ordered express from the United States, 5-day mail. These are about half the size I remember them being when I was a kid. But this is not the time or the place to talk about the decreasing size of things. So let me drop this screen and bring up yesterday afternoon. By the way, we are on day 39. We have a running 39-day streak with the Unleashing the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs. Will today be day 40? Will today be day 40? It is entirely up to you. If we unleash the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs for the 40th day in a row, it's all in your hands. Let's go. Let's pull up yesterday trial, and we'll read the super chats as they come in, because we cannot, once we get going with this, we are not going to stop. We'll just read them as they come in. Share screen. Suitcase murder trial. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday afternoon, beginning right now, let the super chats flow. Unleash the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs. We got Cash App and Venmo down there as well. Zelle, whatever. Let's just do it.
Inquire to staying after 5 o'clock. Members of the gallery, good afternoon. The state is going to continue with their evidence presentation. I know some morning some cell phones were going off. There was chattering in some cell phones this morning. I'm going to please respectfully request that you turn off your cell phones and not have any correspondence or communications orally amongst yourselves or anyone else in the gallery. I'm not going to allow any outbursts. If you cannot contain yourself, I'm going to ask you now to remove yourself. This is your one and only opportunity. If you cannot control yourself or there are outbursts, I will ask the courtroom deputy to remove you. Does anyone have any questions with regard to the court's instructions? If you're wearing sunglasses, I need you to remove them. Thank you. All right, with that, state anything we need to address before we bring in our panel.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
Maybe approach.
Yes.
All right, while they approach, we will read the Cloak and Glomar super chat, $10 super chat from Cloak and Glomar. After Hurricane Helen and Milton, I finally made it back to watch Lorax do his thing. Nobody zipped any luggage during my evacuation. Well, that's good. And just FYI, it still has not arrived. Cloak and Glomar, just to let you know, it's still not arrived. Right, we can fast forward through this now. This goes on quite a bit. They are apparently talking about the woman who was making the outburst. This is where they get booted out of court. What Jules was talking about. Fast forward.
So now, ask left, last row. Get out.
There we go.
Thank you all for your patience. Ma'am in the back left, last row. Good afternoon. After conversing with the state and the defense, they've agreed and asked me to excuse you from this room. I understand that there may have been an outburst by you with courtroom personnel before the judge arrived on the bench this afternoon. If you would like to watch the trial, it is being streamed live. You can head to the 12th floor, get off the elevator, and head to the south side of the building. See the sign where it says Judge Michael Cranick. It'll tell you which direction to go. You can pick up the phone, call my judicial assistant, Anita Barrios, and she can give you instructions on how to watch this trial virtually. Okay?
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's the very nicest FAFO any judge has ever said.
So we gotta work together and try to figure it out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Y'all heard what I said. Ms. Jones, you're fired. Have a good one.
Thank you. To restate the court's prior positions, if there's anyone going to have any outbursts or cannot control themselves, again, I'm going to ask you to remove yourselves at this time. State, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in our panel.
All right. We get to fast forward through this as well while they bring the jury in. What do I keep in small name again here?
5:30 and 6. As I recall, with speaking with some of you, you have minor children and may need childcare to pick them up.
And one of the jurors has to step out for a minute because they're going from 5 to
just you,
6.
not everybody.
So she goes out, she arranges for someone to pick up her kids, and then they bring it back down in because they finished at 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock.
Of our panel, show me by a show of hands you complied with the court's instructions prior to the lunch hour. All right, record reflect, all hands have been raised. With that, state you call your next witness.
State and call Chelsea Kopsell.
And KT says, I thought this was supposed to be a 2 to 3 week trial. We are in the middle of week 2. First week was jury selection. All right, this is the interrogating officer.
Yes.
And good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Yes, it's Chelsea Kopsell, CHELFEY, KOEPSELL.
Thank you. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello,
Whom do you work for?
the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I am currently a homicide cold case detective
How long have you worked for the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
since April of 2013.
And what positions have you held at the Orange County Sheriff's Office during that time?
So I began my career in uniform patrol, and then I moved on to the sex crimes unit as a detective, and then I moved on to the homicide unit as a detective.
In the homicide unit, tell us, what are your duties as a homicide detective?
Respond to obviously homicides and any death-related incidents.
And what type of training do you need to hold that position?
So I went to the police academy, and then after going to police academy, I became a deputy, and then basically just having experience from other units and taking like homicide courses and
thank you very much for the
investigative courses to help me.
Is continuing training a condition of not only your employment, but also holding your position in the homicide unit?
Yes.
How is it that you became involved in this case?
So on February 24th of 2020, my partner at the time, Detective Scott Lowen, received a call. Our team in the homicide unit, there's 3 teams that have 4 detectives on each team with a supervisor, and then we have 1 sergeant. And so on that date, Detective Scott Lowen was basically screening calls for that day, and we were at the office, and he told me about the call.
Are all homicide investigations worked in tandem with another detective?
Typically, yeah. We normally always have a partner with us.
Can you tell us why is it that we do that?
Well, honestly, it's more for court purposes if I weren't to be able to be in court. But it's also nice to just have someone else's perspective and training. We all come from different backgrounds, so it just kind of helps the investigation.
Once you received the call on this case, where was the first place that yourself and Detective Lowen went to?
We responded to the scene.
And when you say the scene, is that 4748 France Court?
Yes, I believe so.
And when you responded to the scene, who did you make contact with first there?
The first person I made contact with was Deputy Kayla Rodriguez.
And was Deputy Rodriguez able to convey you certain information at that time?
Yeah, she explained to me what had been said to her and basically what they have done.
And this location that you responded to, was the defendant present there at that time as well?
Yes, she was. She was outside.
And did you make contact with her?
Yes, I did.
During that time that you were initially there at the scene, did you walk the scene with the crime scene investigator in this case?
Yes, I did.
And when you walked the scene, just tell us some of your observations.
So when you first enter, immediately on the right, there's like a kitchen. And then if you continue down like a very small, short hallway, it opens up to the living room / dining room area. And so when I entered, I could see the victim, George Torres, laying on the ground next to a blue suitcase.
Did you work with the crime scene investigator to identify potential pieces of evidence for collection?
Yes, I did.
Did you also have an opportunity to speak with the defendant in this case at that time?
Yes, I did.
And Paul Youngs has gifted us 1 Legal Vices membership. Hey, if you were, who got this? Ara Moon got the Legal Vices membership. If you were gifted that by Paul Young, give him a super special thanks. And Ant's the man with the $2, his new subscriber here. Love the content. Godspeed. Oh, thank you very much for being a new subscriber. Thank you very, very much. Hope you stick around.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness what's been marked for identification that states T and states U and been shown to defense?
You may.
And unfortunately, the captions for this have not been populated yet. It
May I
takes a
show
day
you
or
what's been
two.
marked for identification first that states T? Can you tell me, do you recognize what that item is?
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is that item?
This is the first part of the interview that I conducted with Sarah Boone on the scene.
And did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes, I did.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the conversation that took place between you and the defendant on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, the first part.
And is that your initials on the disc as well?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states T into evidence.
Any objection? All right, what was pre-marked as states T will be received without objection as states Exhibit 18.
Other than, I may have made a previous objection, other than pre-trial issues.
Yes, sir.
All right, Beldy, she gives me an old school Carmen Sandiego vibes. Show us the piggy pups. We are on our way to the piggy pups. And this, what they're going to be doing now, is the audio of the interrogation we haven't heard yet.
Marked for identification as states U. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, I do.
And tell us, what is that?
This is the second part of the interview with Sarah Boone on the scene.
On February 24th, 2020?
Correct.
And you had an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes, I did.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the second part of that interview that you conducted with Sarah Boone?
Yes, sir.
And is that your initials on the disc as well?
Yes, sir.
All right, this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states U into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
All right, what was pre-marked as states U will be received without objection as states 19.
If you remember, they talked about an interrogation, a questioning that took place in her patrol car that we hadn't heard yet. This is the audio of that interrogation that took place in her patrol car with her and Sarah Boone.
Today's date is February 24th, 2020. The time that's approximately 16:57 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located in my unmarked vehicle out in front of 4748 Brant Lane, apartment number 3 in Winter Park at the Tealwood Park Apartments. And also in the car with me, my partner, and in the front seat is, can you say your name, ma'am?
Sarah Boone,
Okay, and your birthday?
10/10/77.
Okay. So, Sarah, I know you have talked to some deputies. I know we had a very brief conversation, just to reiterate what you told that deputy. But like I was explaining, I would like to get a more further understanding of what happened last night and asking more detailed questions.
Yeah, they've got a lot more
I
questions for you.
You're right, but it's just because that's how we do things. Okay. So you do have the right to remain silent. Okay. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me?
No.
Do you understand what I just read you?
Yes.
Okay. So last night you said that you and your boyfriend George were here at your residence and didn't really leave that day. You said that he went to the store to buy cigarettes.
Yes.
What time was that around? If you recall. Was it light out still? Dark out?
Yes, it was light out
It's
still.
still light out. Okay. But he's the only person that left and he came back,
Yes.
I'm assuming? Okay.
It's right down the street.
It's down the street. Okay. And tell me what you guys were doing next. Like what was happening?
We had a bottle of wine. We painted, we drew, we did puzzles.
Do you remember what wine you guys were drinking?
It was woodbridge Chardonnay.
Okay.
The bottles are in the trash.
Okay. Chardonnay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you remember around like what time this was that you guys were sharing the bottle of wine, painting, doing puzzles?
I'm gonna say 4-ish.
Okay. And was this before he went to the store or after?
I'm sorry.
Had you already gotten home from the store at this point to buy the cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay. So it was around.
Again, she
4
failed to
p.m.
mention they were
that you realized
1.7,
you
they were
guys were doing
1.5 liter bottles of wine.
Okay.
Listening to music, enjoying each other's company.
And all downstairs, upstairs? Where did you guys?
Downstairs.
Downstairs. Okay.
We usually sit on the back porch because we smoke. You know, I smoke inside, so.
Okay. And who was here last night? Was it just the two of you?
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. No one ever came over at any point? No. Okay.
We call his daughters on FaceTime.
Okay.
We're just literally just enjoying one another's company.
Okay. And you guys share the phone that you have, correct? Okay. And the phone's located in there, I think in the
Yes.
dictionary. Yeah. Okay. So tell me what happens next. You're painting, you're doing this puzzle together, you obviously finished a bottle of wine.
Yes.
Did you have 1 or 2 bottles of wine?
Well, we had one previously that was maybe not even half full.
Okay.
But then,
So you finished that one and then you had the full one.
A
Yes.
1.5 liter bottle of wine that's half full is the same size as a normal bottle of wine.
well, we had the bottle of wine while we were having, doing our arts and crafts.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, just waiting, we were puzzled out, we were painted out.
Mm-hmm.
So, being silly, let's play hide and seek, which we had played before. Like, I don't know if you've opened the door on the top of the stairwell, like, he and I have hidden in there before, like, just having fun and enjoying each other's company.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's literally all it was. And then the suitcase is downstairs because I was telling you, we were going to do donations.
Mhm.
And because it's not a very good suitcase, what was the question? I'm sorry.
You were just explaining to me that
Oh, he decided to hide in there. So, being silly, he and I were sitting there laughing at it, like with him in there. And then, so I didn't zip it up all the way, but I mean, that's where his little fingers were about there and whatever, but still having a good time and whatever. Then I guess I decided to go upstairs and I don't know, I fell asleep. So I woke up this morning and again thought he was downstairs on the laptop looking for a job, as he usually is. And then thought, where is he? Is he on the back porch? Is he in the bathroom? Like, where is he? And then I came to about the suitcase. So I opened the suitcase. I took him out, stretched him out, started to do CPR. Where air was coming out, and then like whatever gurgle. So I'm trying to do CPR on him. I'm shaking him, trying to get him to come to, but I can tell by looking at him, something was wrong. He's been losing his teeth lately and has been complaining about his chest hurts, which is why I keep trying to get him to go to the doctor, but because he nor I have a job or insurance, has been putting it off. Mm-hmm. So again, I didn't know what to do, so I called Brian, my ex-husband. I called him, he came over, just walked in and then walked out. I grabbed my phone and I called you guys. From there, here we are.
Yeah, he just walked in, saw some legs on the floor, and yeah.
Did you look at your phone to see what time it was?
No. Most of the time, like I'll wake up, but because he nor I have a job, I'll usually just lay in the bed for a little bit longer because the house is clean. There's nothing else that we can do. Mm-hmm. Me thinking he's on the laptop looking for jobs. I can't use a laptop. So most of the time I'll just stay in the bed and collect my thoughts. And
She can't use a laptop. What?
So do you have any idea what time you woke up that first time? What time it may have been? I don't know if you guys have
I
that.
say 11 something.
Okay.
What does that
Maybe.
mean? I can't
Is that
use
when
a
you finally got up,
laptop.
or is that the first time you woke up?
No, that's the time that I decided to get up because I figured he was downstairs on a laptop. So let him look for jobs on a laptop, and then usually I'll clean, he'll look for jobs, or vice versa, where I'll look for jobs and he'll clean.
Okay. So you think you got out of bed after 11 at some point?
Yes.
Okay. But we can't recall which time. Do you think you were up for like hours before that, or
No.
collecting your thoughts?
Brian, because I was supposed to have my son today, to pick him up from school. Brian usually calls to make sure, hey, are you sure you're taking Lucas today? Because I've had job interviews.
Right.
Are you going to pick up Lucas? So after he called like maybe 3, 4 times, maybe 5, I finally answered, and that's like.
Do you think you were sleeping and missed those calls?
No, I ignored them.
You ignored them.
Because
Okay.
he's notorious for blowing up my phone,
Okay.
but I understand why, because he's making sure that Lucas gets home
Right. Yeah. Okay.
and to do whatever he needs to do day-wise so he can schedule around it.
Were you upstairs in your room at that time when you were ignoring those phone calls?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're not really sure what time you woke up initially, but you were upstairs collecting your thoughts. You figured he was on the laptop downstairs, so you were just getting ready for your day.
Yes.
You finally got out of bed at sometime after 11 a.m. and had gone downstairs.
Yes.
Okay.
Looking for him. And was
Couldn't find him. Looked outside. Couldn't find him anywhere. And then
was in the bathroom. I tried to maybe he's in the bathroom. But then I came to.
And then you called Brian.
Yes.
He came over.
Yes, he came over.
It's down the road, right? Not very far. He came over, walked in, basically walked out. You called 911.
Yes, I had my phone in my hand. I just wanted to wait for him to get there because I didn't know what to do.
Great. Okay. And then we arrived.
Like I don't know what happened. Like I don't know what happened, but like the whole thing is the whole like teeth losing thing, and I don't know what happened. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. He and I were having an amazing time yesterday, like we normally do.
No arguments.
No.
Nothing. Okay.
And the thing with him though is, which is why we've been doing
No arguments, nothing.
Is that
No reason to go murder him.
been stressing out about a job, of course,
Of course.
which we talked about. So what I did was start having him do puzzles and artwork to keep his mind off of it.
Okay.
His ex-wife is all over him about sending money, which he can't do because he doesn't have a job.
Right.
So he was stressing about that. He's been stressing about the job. But that's why I started to buy puzzles and paint to get his mind off of them, which is what I don't know if you noticed on the wall in there, it's all of our artwork and stuff.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Well, here she's saying she
Art and
was doing puzzles and stuff with him to keep his mind off of the stress from not having a job. Her next version of the story was she was doing puzzles to keep him from drinking.
Where we find we hide the best.
How often do you guys play hide and seek?
Gosh, that was maybe third time? Maybe.
Okay. Is it a more recent game you've gotten into, or 3 times in total in your relationship you're talking about?
Lately. Because again, like we were puzzled out. We painted already, so why not?
So you were downstairs hanging out. Do you remember around what time you guys started playing hide and seek?
Honestly, I don't.
Do you remember if it was dark out?
It was dark.
Okay.
It was dark. But my thing is like when I spend time with him and I try to get him to start doing it, I don't look at the clock.
Okay.
I'm here with him and we're having a good time. I don't need to know what time it is.
Right. I didn't know if you were like on your phone, if you got a text message, if you got a phone call last night.
We called his daughters yesterday, FaceTime.
Right. What time was that at?
I don't know without looking at my phone.
Okay.
But
Would that be the only activity that you had yesterday on your phone?
I called Lucas. I talked to Lucas, he's my son.
Okay.
I was calling.
Morning?
No, it was evening.
Evening? Okay.
But
I'm just trying to help you, remember something you did right before hide and seek that would help you remember a time or give us a good time frame, because that's important for, us to know. I want to give us the doctors
I
that.
don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay. So when you called Lucas, was it before or after hide and seek?
Before.
Okay. And when you called to FaceTime, his daughters, before or after hide and seek?
Before.
Okay. And did you call the daughters first and then Lucas, or Lucas first and then the daughters?
I know I talked to Lucas, but then we talked to the daughters afterwards.
Okay.
I don't remember if she called us. No, I know he called Cookie. But yes, we called her.
What are the two daughters' names, or just one? Did you say one?
He has 3 children. It's Anna, Cookie, what her real name is Destiny. And then he has a handicapped son, Georgie.
Okay. Who did you call though yesterday? Who did you call?
Cookie,
And what is Cookie's real name?
Destiny.
Did she have his last name or something else?
It's Torres. Yes, she remarried, but I don't know her last name.
Okay, so you know it's dark out, but you're not really sure what time it is. You play hide and seek. How long do you guys play hide and seek before he decides to get into the suitcase?
Wasn't really. I hid upstairs in the shower, and then came downstairs because I was tired of hanging out in the shower.
Okay.
So that's when he was playing around in the suitcase. So because we both thought it was funny that, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna zip you up. You didn't come look for me. So again, it's a broken suitcase, but
what do you mean by broken?
it's only got one of these. But because I didn't zip it up all the way, he was doing the.
You mean it doesn't have like the pull part?
Correct.
Okay, but it.
No, it's got. I think it's got a, what do you call it? A paper clip.
Okay, so the zipper to it is missing, like the actual zipper that attaches to it to help you open and close is missing, but you think a paper clip was on it instead?
There's a paper. I believe there's a paper clip on it because I know that the last
That's what
time.
you used to like help assist you?
Well, or you can just stick your fingers in there and
Right, yeah.
unzip it yourself, which is why I did not zip it up all the way.
Okay. So how much did you zip it up?
I mean, I don't really know.
You said his fingers were able to stick out?
Yeah, 2 fingers.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm figuring he'll get it. But then I wanted to go upstairs and waited for him, and eventually I guess I fell asleep. I had the dogs in the bed with me, was warm, and then fell asleep.
So you guys are joking, he's in there, you said you would see 2 of his fingers?
Yes,
And then, like, you just decided, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs now, or?
because I figured he would get out and then go upstairs and have intimate relations like we normally do. But I fell asleep.
Okay.
And he never came upstairs. So again, I'm thinking he's downstairs on the laptop earlier today. And then remembered.
Okay. So is this something that you guys play hide and seek before you have sexual intercourse, or do you guys just play hide and seek because you're bored and you're just trying to
What a
have fun?
question.
We were again puzzled out. Can't paint anymore. Even started to curve some of the art that's on the wall now. So
Can't paint anymore. Guess we'll play hide and seek and have sex. I don't know. Wow. All right, while he's walking up there, on your bingo card, lawyer calls for sidebar, wine, and hide and seek should be marked up. Hide and seek, wine, and lawyer calls for sidebar.
You may.
And
2020, the time now is approximately 17:16 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. My first recording on a separate digital recorder, the memory became full and we could no longer record. But I'm in my unmarked agency vehicle with, can you state your name, ma'am?
Sarah Boone.
And my partner, Detective Scott Lowen. We are outside in my unmarked agency vehicle outside of 4748 Franks Lane, number 3.
Adriana, I mentioned before when you mentioned it that
Collecting a statement
the
from
closed
Sarah.
captions have not
Okay,
populated
Sarah,
for
just
this.
for recording purposes,
Right.
because it did
Don't
technically
touch.
stop and I wasn't able to say the time that it stopped prior, we have not talked anything further, not on recording.
Correct.
Okay, and you do understand that you don't have to speak with me if you don't want to, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I think I asked you, my last question was, and I'm not sure if you may have answered or not, but my last question was, you guys were just playing to have fun and it wasn't like something you do right before like sex thing?
No.
Or it's just because
Just
you
a
were,
silly.
okay. But you do say that you are intimate. Are you guys intimate every single night?
No, not every single night.
Okay.
Ooh. Not every single night, but
Did you
yeah.
think it was gonna happen last night?
Yes.
Did you guys talk about it, or you just
No.
assumed like, oh, we're probably gonna have sex tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
Which normally after we do the puzzles and artwork and everything, yes.
Okay.
We were just having a good time,
Okay.
just enjoying each other's company,
And so,
dancing with the dogs.
mhm. At any point, when he was in the suitcase, did you hear him say, please let me out?
No,
Was he?
we were laughing about it.
Yeah, okay. Did you make any jokes about it? Oh, you're in the suitcase, and I know you had said that you were left upstairs and he didn't basically come find you. Did you make any jokes about, oh, okay, well,
No.
now you're in the suitcase?
No.
Okay. But I'm assuming the game was over, like you guys weren't gonna continue to play hide and seek anymore? Like you went upstairs and went into the room?
Right, waiting for him.
Okay. And you said you laid down?
Yes, the dogs got in the bed.
Do you guys sleep together in the room every single night?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Okay. And which side of the bed do you sleep on? Like if
It's, okay, here's the bed. I'm on the left side, he's on the right hand side, because I've got Lucas's pictures over here, he's got his kids' pictures over here.
okay, so you're
So
closer
towards
to
the
the
wall.
door or closer to the other? Are you closer to the door to exit your room, or is he closer?
He is.
Okay. So where the pictures of Lucas are on that side, that's your side?
Correct.
Okay. And is that where you slept last night? Did you sleep in
You
the
can
middle
play
of the bed?
tic-tac-toe on the light
side.
pattern on this guy's head.
And I noticed there's like one pillow on the bed, and then there were like 3 up against the closet.
Mhm.
Are those his pillows, and he brings them into bed, or what's?
No, when I woke up, what I normally do is, I don't know if you noticed the mice that we have in there, Lucas's mice,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll make the bed, clean the mouse cage, and then go downstairs.
They have a mouse.
Okay.
That's a new
So,
piece of
like,
information. You have
what
to clean the
I'm saying
mouse
is that
cage.
Normally, I'll fix that upstairs, and then I'll head downstairs.
Okay.
So that's why those were over here, was because I was trying to fix up the bed a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Were they in the bed prior? Like when you went to sleep, how many pillows were in your bed?
We only have the 2.
You 2. Okay.
Well, it's the 2 white ones, and the king-size ones, when we watch movies,
Mm-hmm.
we'll put behind the white one, and then the third pillow just goes in between everybody else.
Okay. Do you use one pillow to sleep, or do you each have one? Right? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So you just basically didn't finish making the bed. Is my understanding. That's why the pillows are up against the. There's like 3 pillows up against the closet.
Yes.
They're like standing.
Yes,
Okay.
because I'll move all the pillows off, and then I'll shake out the bed, and then put everything back together.
Okay. Okay. And did he say anything to you while he was in the suitcase? I know you guys were laughing, joking, but was any jokes made? Was anything said?
No, nothing negative or anything like, I'm telling you.
Just
like,
anything that he said, like.
we were laughing about it.
Mhm.
I mean, and I waited for him upstairs.
And
Did you tell him you were going upstairs, or?
No, I did not. I literally went upstairs to wait for him.
was the line? Was it all gone at this point while you guys were playing hide and seek?
I think so.
Okay. Is it at that point? I mean, I don't know how often you drink, but would you say that you were under the influence and he was under the influence, or
Well, I mean, we weren't drunk.
weren't drunk? Okay.
We weren't drunk. I mean, we had a handful of glasses throughout the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was nearly
we weren't,
double
like,
the legal limit
inebriated
when he died.
where, like, he couldn't drive.
The
He was
pathologist
still-
said that
I mean,
he was
we
at
were
least up to, was it
conscious.
0.23 or something like that?
Okay.
0.213, I think it
Yeah, I
was.
don't know what that word means.
I mean, we had our wits about ourselves.
Okay.
That's why he and I were
That's
playing.
the thing, though. This isn't a trick question. You're at your home. You're consenting adults. If you're drinking, say you were drunk. There's no law against it.
Right.
Nobody's judging you. You're at home.
Neither one of us were drunk.
Okay.
We were just,
I'm just trying
On the
to.
giddy stage.
Okay.
that's what it was. Listening to music again, dancing with the dogs.
Okay. Well, luckily his blood alcohol level will show us at the autopsy as well too. So, we have that as well. Okay, so
There was no ill will between the 2 of us last night.
yeah.
I'm not,
Well, that's not going to help her
But as long as you
defense
guys
any.
talk
If she
about
says,
it.
"Oh, there was no ill will between us at the time. We were having a great time."
maybe last week.
Okay.
Their last argument was a week before.
Over just normal relationship stuff, or
It's a little bit of everything because he and I both talking about dogs.
right?
It's been extremely depressing for him where he worked up here at it used to be an Ace Hardware, but Ace dropped them as a franchise because of how bad the store is going down. And he thoroughly enjoyed his job and everybody he worked with. But it's between stuff like that, and then of course we've got the bills that we have to pay, and I've been having to ask Brian, my former husband, for money to pay for electricity and hot water for Lucas and groceries.
Okay.
So I think that, of course, because he can't support me, has been bothering him, which is why I bought a new puzzle for the two of us to do.
Right.
And that's what we were working on in the painting.
Okay.
He can't support me, so I bought him a new puzzle. That's
Do
weird.
you guys normally argue often, not often, weekly, every
It
other?
all depends on like if he had a good day or a bad day kind of thing, where he would just be happy to come home and see me because he knows that it's going to get better. And then most of the time he would go for a drink and we would sit on the back porch. He would tell me about his day and we would have a glass of wine and then kind of start our evening-ish kind of thing. And so, but then we would go inside because we're tired of being outside. And then that's when we started to do the art and puzzles. And then listening to music and playing with the dogs. And it's a thing, tired, great kind of thing.
Gotcha. Is there anything he drinks specifically, like his go-to drink, or?
It's honestly whatever it is we can afford, which is why we used to drink like liquor, but
Right.
like months ago.
Right.
Which is why we have the wine.
Okay.
What did you guys make for dinner last night?
He made a pork sandwich with cheese, and what was it that I ate? I think I made a sandwich and some chips.
You guys would have to go out and get anything that from there?
Yes.
Like a sandwich, or like a deli sandwich, like deli meat sandwich, or did you get pork ham? Like
He had I made a pork one the other day for him and Lucas,
Mm-hmm.
and they were leftovers, so he
had that.
He made a pork loin sandwich with cheese, and I had my just ham and the
Ham sandwich.
Did you see a pork rind sandwich with cheese?
Does he normally come up with that, or will he do the typical guy thing where he's downstairs and will fall asleep on the couch?
I mean, he's done that before just because of his crappy day that he had, but yes, we sleep in the same bed.
You normally sleep at
Yes.
6:00. Do you guys go to bed at the same time?
Most of the time, yes, but because he's been very excited about looking for a job, he might stay downstairs for half an hour, 45 minutes,
That makes
and then
more
would come
sense.
upstairs, and he and I would watch movies together until it was just, okay, there's no more movies that we want to watch, and then we would just turn the lights off and go to sleep.
Pork loin makes more sense than a pork rind.
Last night when you said you went upstairs, you have like a ritual that you do prior to going to bed? Like you brush your teeth, wash your face, put on TV. Is there any like normal things that you do?
Me and myself? No. I mean, I'll go upstairs, maybe like rinse my mouth out with Listerine.
Okay. Do you recall what you did last night?
I just got in the bed with the dogs,
Okay.
waiting for him.
And how long do you think you were up waiting for him until you passed out?
I wouldn't say I necessarily passed out.
Oh, obviously.
Yes, he knows too that I'll go upstairs sometime because of how tired I am,
Mm-hmm.
which is why he'll just give me my space a little bit. Maybe I'll watch a show and then he'll come upstairs. So, I mean, I gotta be ordinary.
No, I know, but last night, how long do you think it was prior to you falling asleep?
Oh.
Like, how long did you wait up for him?
Maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, I literally, I dozed off. More in the bed with the dogs, waiting for him.
Okay.
I didn't even bother turning the TV on. Just got in the bed. He knows too that I would go upstairs because of how tired I am. He knows. Like, I'm mentally exhausted. So.
Who usually gets up first? I mean, are you an early riser, or is he an early riser, or he's usually an early riser?
Yeah, he has to be at work by 8 o'clock, so he'll usually wake up at like 6:30ish if I don't have Lucas.
How long has he been out of work?
Gosh, maybe. Well, he did some odd job stuff up there, but I think his last day was like Friday 2 weeks ago.
So he hasn't worked in about 2 weeks?
Yes.
And during that 2 week period, has he maintained just the body naturally wakes up early, or does he?
Yes, it's his body clock.
Okay. What time is that normally?
Like 6:30, 6:45-ish. But again, if I have Lucas here, I have to take him to school, so we're up at like 6:30. I'm feeling really like weird, guys. Like lightheaded. I feel really weird right now.
You feel like you're sick?
No, I'm not sick. Just I don't know.
Do you need food?
I haven't even fed my dogs today. The mice need to be taken care of still. I don't think they have any food. But again, I'm doing these downstairs on the laptop, so he can use the laptop and then I'll use the laptop afterwards.
So it wasn't when you woke up this morning, it wasn't out of the ordinary that he wasn't there.
What do
You
you mean?
didn't wake up this morning and go, oh, where's George? You woke up thinking, okay, George got up like he normally does before me.
And it's downstairs on the laptop looking for jobs.
You had made a comment earlier that he's losing his teeth.
Yes.
What is
I think we don't know. I think that's one of the things subconsciously that has been really on his mind also, is that he keeps losing his teeth. Like, pieces would break off, he lost a whole molar or something in the back the other day while we're eating. And then he keeps talking about how his chest, and I'm blaming it on stress.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. I don't know what the teeth thing is. I know it can't be a good sign.
You said he got into, you said an argument, but he had a bunch of facial injuries where he had reconstructive surgery.
Yes.
So he and his brother got into
Yes.
this fight?
Oh my gosh, it was horrific, yes.
Was it, I mean, usually when you have that much damage, it's more than just a fist fight. His brother hit him with something?
No, wait till you guys see Mo. Mo is a gorilla. Like, he's,
The what?
It is possibly that's what's causing the teeth to get messed up?
So they have to do work on his teeth or his jaw or
just his
anything?
eyes.
His eyes.
Just the orbital sockets?
Yes. Well, I fixed his nose too.
Okay. Now, the damage to his eyes, is that still, I mean, is it noticeable or?
No.
Okay, so when they fixed the sockets, they came back and you couldn't tell that they'd been damaged?
I couldn't tell, but his children recognize it, where they say he doesn't look like the same dad.
Okay.
But to me, I've never noticed it.
No other damage to the jaw, the forehead, anything like that?
No. It was just his eyes and his nose.
Bless you.
You said he's been complaining of chest pains?
He had mentioned it a couple times, where I'm just blaming it on stress, but again, I kept trying to encourage him with or without money, go to a walking clinic.
Yeah.
You'll eventually get a bill. But the teeth thing has been worrying me also, and I didn't want to say anything to him about it. But we were in the process of eating dinner, and a tooth comes out.
Yeah.
That scares me. And a bit flag, if you ask me.
Well, this is the reason I was asking what you guys had for dinner last night. What is his dietary habits been lately? I mean, he looks super thin to me. Now, I don't know George, but he does not look like he's an average
He
weight.
eats, believe it or not, like a horse. Like, he'll eat like 4 or 5 times a day. Again, one of the things that has been concerning me, which you all will be the first people that I actually say this to, is his weight. For the amount of food that he eats throughout the day, how he doesn't gain any weight. He and I and Lucas going out to Publix every time we step on the scale, and he continuously loses weight. Well, I don't even want to step on the scale anymore.
How long has this been going on for?
Months.
So way before losing his job.
Yes. It's been ongoing. I mean, I'm not even saying months, I can say at least a good year.
Okay.
And he eats like a horse.
And you said you don't know any drug history?
Since I've been with him and known him, he's never done drugs. But I know him growing up in Philadelphia, he had a bad stint with marijuana and alcohol. And when you talk to his children and or his ex-wife, she will tell you. His family will tell you. But since he's been with me, no, I have not. He's never done drugs out.
Your phone, is it password protected or touch screen?
It's password protected.
Does George know the password as well?
He doesn't know the code, but he does the face thing.
His facial recognition on it?
Okay. And the only reason why I have that is because I had lost 2 phones previously where before I had the passcode was somebody else being able to get into my phone because I lost it twice. So that's the only reason why I have it.
Oh, like that's the reason you put a password on it, just in
Yes.
case you lost your phone?
Yes.
Okay, so do you recall what time you went to bed?
I know that it was after midnight
Okay. How do you know that? Like, what makes you remember that?
because I walked up the stairwell and we have a clock that's on top.
Like you see it as you're walking up the stairwell?
Yes. You have to turn the corner and it's right here.
Okay. And you don't remember when you went into the shower, around what time it was, looking at that same clock?
I didn't shower. I mean, I showered earlier in the day.
No, when you said you hid in the shower when you were trying to sleep.
Yes.
Did you happen to look at that clock then and see what time it was?
No, I just happened to look up on my way.
Going to bed? Or going into the room?
Yes.
Okay, so it's after midnight. Do you think it was before 1 a.m. though? Was it between midnight and 1 or?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, if I had to say, it was like 12:30-ish.
Okay. Okay, and when you went upstairs, you and George were no longer having a conversation, laughing about the suitcase. You just decided to go upstairs.
No, we were laughing about it.
Okay, so you continued to joke about it as you were going upstairs, thinking he'll just get himself out, and then.
Yes, that's why I didn't close it all the way. That's why I didn't close it all the way. I'm like, he'll be up here in a minute now.
Yeah.
But
They
then
were
I
laughing
let
and
them doze
joking
off.
about it while she was walking up the stairs. That's going to be contradicted by
And
the
again,
video
I'm
that
making
the
downstairs on the
officers
left
haven't
side.
seen yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Because he gets out of the floor most of the time.
When you put him in or when he got into the suitcase,
Yes.
correct? So the suitcase now, if we're looking at it, what side was his head on when he got into the suitcase and you zipped him? Was his head like on the, if we're looking
And
at it,
it's like this.
uh-huh.
His head was here. The hole was here.
So his head was closer to where,
Yes.
like when you close it, his head was closer to where it's closed.
No, that's where his head's here. This is him doing the finger thing over here.
Right, so his head is closer to where you can close it. So when you close it, his head is on that side, or his head is on the opposite side of where you close it. Because there's obviously an open, there's when the suitcase is open, and then when it's shut, and it's obviously the zipper's on opposite sides.
So if you do this, yes,
Mhm.
his head was here, where the zip part was.
Okay. Okay.
But again, that's why I didn't zip it up all the way.
Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know that we haven't asked you?
I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know again if he had
I
like a
think
heart
you
attack or
do.
aneurysm
I'm
or
willing to
what.
bet you
I
knew
don't
what
know
happened,
what
Sarah.
Do you keep your phone on you? Like, is it always in your possession?
No. Because it's a community phone between me and him, like if he needs it, most of the time it's on the kitchen counter.
Okay.
Where it's like, he knows that's where my phone is, or hey, after you're done talking to Lucas, do you mind if I call my daughters? So
Right.
it's our phone.
No, I get it. I just,
But no, I don't walk around with my phone on me all the time.
okay, did you bring it upstairs with you when you were going to bed?
No.
No, okay, so it stays downstairs, or it's downstairs with him?
Yes, he's downstairs with him. Because that's how I heard my phone ringing and I knew it was Brian because he called over and over and over and over again, which is what he does.
So you assumed it was him, but you didn't know Brian was calling you, but you assumed it was Brian?
Yes, because he calls back to back to back to back to back to back. Until I eventually finally answer.
Okay. Okay, so your phone was downstairs.
Yes.
Alrighty, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you promise to swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But may I ask you though, because I was telling you guys about it earlier.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if I'm afraid for my life at this point.
But
I'm afraid.
I don't know anything about your guys' history. Like, I don't know, other than the family not liking you, like.
And they get upset because of the drinking. And just,
Interesting that she said she is afraid for her life after George is dead, because it's not the fear that George was going to kill her. It's the fear that his family is now going to kill her because he's
Are they going to tell me
dead.
that he's an alcoholic?
probably.
Okay. Are they going to tell me that you're an alcoholic?
They'll say that, but they don't know. They assume
Okay. Why do they say that he's an alcoholic?
because of his track record in Philadelphia and all of the things that he has done. Cars that he's wrecked, ex-wives' cars. He's been divorced twice. And he has, yes, they'll say that.
Okay.
They'll say that, but they don't know. They just don't know.
Okay. Well, people have their opinions. Okay, you can't not. There's nothing you can do about someone having an opinion and saying something like that. As far as what's going on here, I told you, prior, we don't know what happened. So I understand you feel like they're gonna not accept, what happened, and they're gonna think that it's your fault. But at this time, we cannot conclude and say anything differently. I know we talked about you possibly going somewhere else for tonight. You have to do what you have to do to keep yourself safe. But at this point in time, no one has made a threat to you. No one has done anything.
I haven't said anything to him yet.
Right. But we will obviously talk to them. And of course, we're going to instruct them that this is an ongoing investigation.
I got my son.
Well, your son's with Brian and is going to stay with Brian. So we're going to cross that bridge when we get to it. I know you're fearful of it now, but nothing has happened to where you're in fear based off of past history and what they think of you and how they
threaten me all the time.
Do you have proof, or is it all verbal? Like, would it be in your phone?
No, it's verbal.
Okay.
It's verbal.
So it's he said versus she said, or she said versus she said.
Yeah, they've been really nasty to me. Really nasty to me.
It's gonna be a shock. It's gonna be that everyone handles things differently. We're not gonna leave there with them hooting and hollering.
She's going to
being
collapse.
upset.
And then they're gonna all come over here.
Okay. Well, who's gonna collapse? So I don't even know
His mom.
His mom. What's his mom's name?
Blanca.
Is that her government name, or is that just what you call her?
No, I think that's her government name.
And you said she lives around here?
They live down the street.
When's the last time you said he doesn't even really talk to his family because he shows you over them. So when's the last time you've seen them or talked to them?
I believe he did something with his brothers a couple of weeks ago, but I don't go over there.
Okay. So if he goes over there, you do not go?
No.
But he did something with his brothers?
I'm guessing so. I know that they come up to his dog all the time.
When he was working there?
Yes.
Okay.
So they don't come, they have come over here and have just been completely disrespectful.
Okay.
And again, he ended up having to tell them, don't come over here if you're gonna act like that and treat Sarah like that.
Do you know their address?
I have it inside. I know it's Valhalla Boulevard, but if you go down, what is this out here? Goldenrod?
Mm-hmm.
There's a Twisty Treat ice cream place on the right hand side, and you turn down that road, and then you make a left, and then you'll see Valhalla, and you make a right, and their house is.
And while she's doing that, just a quick announcement. Court is now live. We are not that far behind.
I'm going to end my recording. Is that okay?
It may seem like we're far behind, but we're really, really not. We'll be caught up with the court here in about 15 minutes.
It has a bunch of dents in it. What is that from?
When we moved in, they were already there.
So I don't see any other doors with dents like that.
Whoever it was that lived here previously, I know it was a girl, but that was here when we moved in.
This ends the recording 17:47.
While you were on scene on February 24th, did you also make contact with Ryan Boone?
Yes, before I spoke to Sarah Boone, yes.
And did you have an opportunity to interview him?
Yes, I did.
While on scene, did you also begin the process of examining the defendant's cell phone?
I did not examine it myself, but we have a waivers and affidavits form that has a consent portion on it. And so I did start doing the paperwork for that.
You obtained consent from the defendant in this case?
Yes, on scene to search through her cell phone.
And what time did you become aware of the videos on her cell phone?
So a digital forensic investigator responded out to the scene, and she responded out a little after 7 p.m. And I would assume she probably started doing, whatever she needed to do. And then a short time later, she came over and got my attention and expressed to me that I needed to look at something in her phone.
And these were suitcase videos, correct?
Yeah, they were 2 separate videos from the night prior.
When you observed these videos, what actions did you take?
When I observed the videos, I directed the digital investigator to stop processing and downloading her phone any further, and that I was going to write a search warrant for her cell phone.
Did you obtain that search warrant for her cell phone?
Yes, it was signed by a judge the next day.
And she was obviously able to finish the digital analysis, correct?
Yeah, she was able to get the full download as well. She had already gotten the videos downloaded the night prior, but she was able to do whatever she does to get the full download.
In the course of your interview with the defendant, you were relayed information that I guess she had gone to Publix the previous day. Is that correct?
In the interview?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm sorry. In the interview that we just listened to about going to Publix?
In the course of speaking with her, did you learn that she had gone to Publix?
Yes. I was under the impression that that George had gone to Publix.
Did you follow up with that Publix for surveillance video in this case?
Yes, I went to the Publix to gather surveillance video.
And were you able to find that video of them at Publix the previous day?
Yes.
Your Honor, request permission to publish Stage 2.
You may.
All right, well, he's publishing that. Exotic overture for the $2 says the prosecution has this case in the bag. Island says, need doggo support for Sarah's testimony. Update. We'll update you in just a second because Adair K dropped 5 Legal Vices memberships. And right on the heels of that, Island dropped another 5 Legal Vices membership. And if you got a super special membership from one of these super special people, make sure you give them a super special thanks. And Kim Dodds, member for 1 month, says, hey, Legal Vices, my profile crushes my fur nephew, Nay. He's watching last night's stream with me, and he's got a crush on Miss Strawberry. Well, he's going to be able to see Miss Strawberry here because we're about $25 away from unleashing the emotional support potato pig dogs for the 40th day in a row. You got about $25 to go. And legal-minded friends Karen Cole says, do you think the defense is trying to establish George was too drunk to get himself out? I think that's one of the areas they're trying to cast doubt on.
I'm first going to show you the video
I think so.
taken from Publix on February 23rd, 2020 at approximately 12:15 p.m.
Thank you so much for the support, people. Here they are buying the big bottle of wine. Remember, they had the 1 magnum of wine still at home, and he went to the store with her to get another one.
Identify the victim and the defendant on this video.
This is the defendant, and this is the victim.
You can advance the video.
Yes, we can skip a little bit here while they work their way through the line.
This video?
Yes, it's right here.
There we go. Here's the bottle of wine. That's Sarah and George on the left.
Move on to the publication of the second surveillance video. Can you identify Mr. Torres for us in this video?
Yes, he's right here.
And is that the second bottle of wine?
Yes.
All right.
And that's the second bottle of wine.
In the course of your investigation, did you also interview individuals from the apartment complex while they were living?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to also interview their neighbors as well?
Yes, I did.
Did you interview Juan Torres?
Yes, the following day.
And did you attend the autopsy in this case?
Yes, the following morning.
Your Honor, may I approach with the defense?
Yes.
All right, lawyer calls for sidebar. Mark, real quickly, lawyer calls for sidebar. Suitcase, wine, and hide and seek are your bingo answers so far. Why? Lawyer calls for sidebar, suitcase, wine, and hide and seek.
Their presentation is going to be kind of long in length. So we're going to go ahead and take our afternoon break at this point in time.
All right, we'll
Similar
skip through the
instruction
afternoon
I've
break.
given
We
you
are
over the
very
last couple of
nearly
days.
done.
Please don't have any discussions among yourselves or any.
We're very, very nearly done. Then we'll be picking up today's live. All right, Sarah's back in
with the
court.
recorded interview on February 25, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And what do we need to address with regard to that in advance, if anything?
Now they're going to show the interrogation video from the sheriff's office. We're going to skip that because we've already watched it.
Judge, I believe it's identified as state's exhibit for identification. S as in Sam.
Okay.
And I believe that's the 2-hour interrogation video that I had filed the pretrial motion to suppress, which the court had denied, but contemporaneously, I want to make that objection.
Okay, understood. Any other objections?
No, sir.
Okay. It was edited based on the court's granting of the motion in limine, defense's motion in limine prior to trial. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And a copy of the edited version was provided to the defense, I believe, on the first day of jury selection.
That's true.
Okay. And I'm assuming the video that's going to be provided to our jury this afternoon is that exact same video?
Yes.
Do you want me to read the 2.2 instruction prior to it being played after it being received into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Which instruction is that?
That's the instruction on edited recording.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else we need to address state before we bring back in our jury?
Not for the sake.
Mr. Beck, Mr.
Your Honor, if I may real briefly.
Appearances, sir.
Contemporaneous objection.
No. I'm going to talk about the reports that the court referenced in the last sidebar before the jury was brought in this afternoon.
Fine. Let me just get your appearance, Mr. Beck.
I'm sorry, yes, Kevin Beck on behalf of Sarah Boone.
Yes, sir.
There was a discussion regarding these depositions that we're going to be taking this afternoon of the defense witnesses that were recently noticed. I do have some concerns about the court having indicated to defense that if we had reports, things of that nature, we should share those with the state to the extent that those reports were generated by our investigator there, potentially for product privilege. And so we're happy to work with the state, cooperate with the state, give them what we can, but I want to expressly state that we are not waiving work product privilege by providing whatever information we can to allow this process to move forward.
Understood. I'm not seeking to have you turn over anything to the state that may be protected by any attorney-client or work product privilege. My takeaway was there's something that could be provided. If it can, fantastic. If it can't, the court's ruling from previously still remains. Since we have an opportunity to revisit our list during the lunch break, did you have an opportunity, Mr. Owens, addressing the USB to CD conversion for any evidence to be provided or sought to be introduced by the defense?
My understanding is that Mr. Billy Lane was going to go to Staples or somewhere and purchase one of those DVDs, CDs, or whatever it is that makes the conversion. So we anticipate it will be done.
Okay, excellent. All right. Anything else we need to address then before we bring back in our panel state?
Not for the sake.
Defense. All right, let's stand and bring back in our panel.
All right, they bring the panel back in. They read them the instruction that the video's been edited to cut out some things that were irrelevant and whatnot. Then they go in, and I'm really sad they didn't call this guy to the stand because I can't wear my my fuchsia satin shirt in solidarity. But we'll do that for the for the verdict watch, I guess. So they show this entire video, and then at the end, they give an instruction to the jury that the questions asked by the police officers aren't evidence. It's just a way, it's an eliciting testimony. You shouldn't draw any conclusions from the questions and the way the questions are asked. And then they wrap it up for the day. So now if you want to watch this, the link is down there we watched this before the trial started and we commented on it. I put the link to our previous video where we watched the entire interrogation and commented on it down here in the description. So later, if you want to go watch this whole thing, go ahead, but we're going to skip it here so that we can join the court live now. We are just a few minutes behind. So let's bring up today, and there's today live. And before we get doing that, we do have one more thing. Adara the Wholesome says, does judge saying if anything count? The lawyers ain't. No, this has to be a lawyer thing. This is so cool. We've gone the entire trial. Not one lawyer has said what, if anything, or who, if anything, not once. So that's pretty good. Thank you so much for the $2. And let's talk trivia, Rob. Does the defense attorney tell clients to show no emotion in general, or is SB just a non-emotional person? Bottom line, her boyfriend that she loved died. They tell you not to get excited, not to have outbursts, not to, but try to keep your cool is about as much as you would say. She's just weirdly non-emotional. All right, we've got this set to be 1.25 speed. We've got captions. We are going to catch up. They've got a lot to get through, and Sarah Boone is expected to take the stand 45 minutes to an hour from now, somewhere around there. Turn the subtitles on. Boom. Let's go. Gotta fast forward to where they get in court. Sarah's in. And let's see. There's a lot they've got to do this morning. They got to finish up the cross-examination of the police officer, Kopsell, Kopsell that's scrolling across the bottom there. And then they have to make their motion to, they have to make all their motions, and then they have to get rejected. And before we do that, Nancy Joe M has just dropped 10 Legal Vices memberships. That gets you a foghorn. Nancy Joe has got us to that part of the day that we call Release the Hounds.
James Owens for Sarah Boone.
Tony Anderson for Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone, raise your right hand to be sworn. Please, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Ma'am, good morning. Can you
This
state your
is
full name and date
day
of birth for the record,
40.
please?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-7-7.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing a black blazer and a dark blue blouse. She is in custody. However, she's not in any restraints.
Thank you so
we
much for the
continue to
support. This is
stand,
day
while
40. We have
the
reached
jury panel
and
enters
unlocked
and
the
exits.
emotional support.
My understanding is that our
Potato
panel
Pig Doug
is here this morning. State, do we have any housekeeping matters we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Yes, sir. 3 discovery issues, and then I filed a motion late last night requesting an in-camera inquiry into a potential conflict of interest. I copied your JA.
I did review the motion.
Okay. The 3 discovery issues are...
Oh, real quickly, there was an important motion that was made that I forgot to mention. The defense wanted one of their witnesses to appear by Zoom, and the defense said no, we object to that, and the prosecution said no, we object to that. The defense said, well, we're bringing her in for deposition, but I would like to explain why she doesn't want to appear in court, why she wants to appear by Zoom. And the judge said, well, sorry, I can't allow a Zoom testimony unless both parties agree. The prosecution doesn't agree, so on those grounds, it's denied. So, but I'm curious, there's a reason this witness didn't want to appear live in court. They were going to come all the way into the court for a deposition, but they didn't want to appear in court. But we'll never find out because the judge said that witness is coming in whether they want to or not.
One, on October 5th or October 4th, I believe the defense was provided with the body-worn camera 911 calls from the prior incidents. And there was a request made to tell us what, if anything, should be redacted from their point of view so that we could either reach an agreement or use the court resources to decide any conflicts in those issues. Yesterday morning was the first actual response I got from the defense team, and it was incomplete. It was about 3 of the 5 incidents. I do agree with 2 of the redactions, and we're getting those taken care of. But obviously, just like connecting to the court screen, it takes time. And I'm not the person that's going to be doing it. Somebody else in the office has to do it. The 3rd incident, I think we're still not on the same page as what the state's planning on introduce. So I resent the email with the screenshots of what files the state plans on introducing to the defense team again this morning.
We got our what, if anything,
yet from the defense team about the 4th and 5th incident. I was told that Attorney Beck was going to handle it. It is now Tuesday, day 7 of trial, and he has not handled it. Second discovery issue is Friday, I was given a hard copy of 119 pages of the second copy of the Winter Park Advent Health records.
10/18, October 18th. That would have been the preceding Friday.
I was given a hard copy after court at about 5:30, 5:45. I emailed the PDF of those records back to the defense as they requested. I put Bates numbers on them. I understand from court what pages they indicated that they want to use and what pages the court indicated should be included at the state's request, which is pages 26 and 48 out of the 111. I would just appreciate if I could get a copy of the intended exhibit as it shall be introduced to the court, so I can confirm those things ahead of time and not in court. And then the third thing is, I believe we had a discussion about the plethora of pages regarding the victims' hospital records, and that there was some sort of discussion we had that they were to narrow it down. And I have not been given any narrowed down version of that so that we can confirm we're on the same page or use the court's time if there's a conflict. Thank you.
Okay. Responses to the first discovery issue regarding body worn camera and 911 calls is to the, my understanding, 5 prior incidents. Defense.
Judge, I can speak to 3 of them. There were 3 of them that I reviewed, and I believe I reviewed them on Sunday. I had made the decision for what I thought needed to be redacted. I think the first 2, if I remember correctly, I said that was fine. We didn't even have any redactions to it. I think it's 1 that I said redactions to, and I think the state agrees with that. The specific one that I didn't quite know, and I think that has to do with a body cam where it comes to, and I believe it's Mr. Torres's mother. I can't quite be for sure, but she's been asking questions and all, and I think it's about, if I can recall correctly, about Mr. Torres's whereabouts at that time. I didn't know the relevance of this at that time, but that was the only part of that to let the state know. I just don't know, really know the relevance. It could come in at a different point and become relevant. But as to the other 2, I think we were on page with. I'd been out to the jail that day. It was late. Then I asked Mr. Beck to do the other 2 redactions, but I hadn't had an opportunity to talk to him about that since. So that's
We're about 10
So
minutes
the third
behind live
incident
right now.
that the state has identified for which there's seemingly no responses to redaction, is that the body worn camera purportedly between law enforcement and Mr. Torres's mother?
That's what I believe it to be.
Mr. J.
We're just
Bless
not, we're just not on the same page. On that third incident, which I believe was June 15th of 2019, the state only indicated to them that we were intending to introduce 1 video file. It is not of the victim's mother. It is of them at Sarah Boone's house. And the objection to the files that they were objecting to, which we don't seek to introduce, just said ID. And I don't know that as a legally recognized objection. So I'm confused. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page. We understand which file the state wants to use regarding the third incident, because he's describing files the state does not intend to use. The first couple of
Mark off lawyer confused on your bingo card.
Off into an OBD call at 3 minutes and 51 seconds. We're cutting that to the end. The second one, Ms. Boone at like 3 minutes and 43 seconds indicates that she had been arrested prior. So we can cut that out. We're going to cut that out of that cat's out of the bag. So what we're looking for now is just making sure we're all on the same page about the third incident. I sent screenshots. There's a tool called Snipping Tool in Windows. I literally create a rectangle around the files that I'm intending to use, their file size, and the folder that includes the OCSO agency case number incident, so we can be as crystal clear as possible. And I'm still getting objections about things we don't want to introduce on that incident, and I've gotten no response with the 4th and 5th incidents.
Right, addressing the third incident is the specific portions of the June 15, 2019 incident, seemingly the body worn camera that you're making reference to, Mr. Henderson, the state has no intention of utilizing.
Yes, sir. And just it's a lot, so if I can have one.
Sure.
So he's objecting to something they're not even going to use. Derp. This guy, I tell you, he hasn't said an intelligent thing since he parachuted into this case.
That's not one. I understand.
It scares me that they're letting this guy handle her defense.
That would be June 18th.
Here's the problem. I sent these pictures over with the OCSO case number, and then I get a response based on incident dates. So we have to kind of cross-reference. So we can just make the record entirely clear. OCSO incident 18-067501. There was no 911 calls and apparently no objection. So they have no redactions requested for that 2018 case. Then the next response was 6/15/2019 case. And that for the record is OCSO 19-054917. Their request on that one was the 911 call that we just discussed, indicating that at 3:51, well, I had to find it, 3:51, it turns into another case, and to redact that to the end. We agreed. Video 3 in that file, again, no file name, indicates that 9:40 to 9:43, there's a redact request with paren previous arrest. The state agrees to that. We heard her quickly say that at 9:43, and we will get that taken care of. Then their next response was 6/18/2019 case, which I had to cross-reference back to show that it is OCSO 19-055572. And in that particular case, what I sent them was a screenshot that includes the OCSO case number 19-055572, and it indicates there is an intent by the state to introduce 2 911 calls and 1 video file labeled axon_flex_2_video_2019-06-18_1330. My response that I received from them was video 3 in file, 2 minutes 7 seconds to 2 minutes 18 seconds paren ID, and then video 4 in file, 2 minutes and 4 seconds to 2 minutes and 16 seconds paren ID. So my confusion lies in I did not indicate 3 or 4 files, it was just 1 file. And then again, with the other 2.
I don't want to address Morn 5 yet. Okay. My understanding, there's no response. We'll address that momentarily. Responses to the clarification as to what it is the state seeks for incident 3.
No redaction.
Okay, all right. With regard to incidents 4 and 5, Mr. J, could you place on the record what it is specifically as to those incidents the state may be seeking to introduce?
Yes, sir. So what we're calling incident number 4 should be OCSO 19-078009, August 28th, 2019. We indicated the desire to use axon_flex_2_video_2019.
Oh, that video.
-28-2024. And then at their request, they had desired to get photos of Ms. Boone's injuries from that case. There is a 19-page PDF file, which has pictures taken by law enforcement of her injuries. I don't see anything else in there.
Ineffective assistance of counsel is incredibly difficult to get.
But nothing that
basically, does your lawyer have a license and does he have a
so that was at their request that they wanted photographs in. So that is incident 4, which is labeled OCSO 19-078009.
With regard to seemingly the body-worn camera that the state seeks to enter into evidence from August 28, 2019, what say the defense?
I don't know about the state's position on this. There's a portion of this video at the very end is very personal to an investigating officer that they may want to redact. We're not asking you to do that.
Is the state seeking any redactions?
I'm just clarifying what their redaction requests are in that particular file.
Okay.
If they don't have anything.
So are there any redaction requests with regard to that particular file? Okay. I'm just keeping notes. Give me a moment, Bill.
Yeah, to be ineffective assistance of counsel, your lawyer has to blow something of epic proportions.
No.
He has to, I mean, it has to be a disaster of epic proportions that ruined your case. He's just not really very good.
And so we haven't really spent a whole lot of time worrying about it since then.
Let me clarify as to what the 5th incident is, just so that we're all on the same playing field.
Judge, the 5th incident is OCSO 19-079759, and that was on September 4th of 2019. Within that screenshot that I sent to them, both Friday and then resent it this morning, was photographs of the defendant taken at that time. At their request, shows a cut in her ear. It's 3 photographs. Then there is also 1 body-worn camera labeled 1924735. Strike that. 192473549 _GEN _INV. and then the 911 call from that incident.
Any redactions sought by the defense with regard to that specific body-worn camera or 911 call?
We're not necessarily seeking redaction, Your Honor. However, there are two separate videos. One seems to focus on Jorge Torres, one seems to focus on Ms. Boone, and there is clearly some redundancy. They're both body cams. One went upstairs where Mr. Torres was found hiding in a shower for master bath. And so some of that's redundant. So there are actually two separate videos pursuant to the fifth.
Mr. J, are there one or two videos that the state's seeking?
There's one, the one that I listed.
The jury is not present for this part. They're nowhere
if
near
that's
this. They're arguing about what the jury is going to see.
Bruce, can you find out what counsel's here for? Is that the video from the perspective of, as identified by Mr. Beck, one more geared
Now, there's a
towards Ms.
lawyer
Boone,
that they're
one
trying to
more
figure
geared
out why
towards
he's
Mr.
there.
Torres?
My interpretation of both of them is there's interactions with Ms. Boone, and then there's interactions with Mr. Torres upstairs after he's located.
Mr. Beck, the specific file number was identified. So just to confirm, no redactions? Okay, all right. So just as a recap, with regard to the first incident, the 911 call, parties have agreed to redactions at the timestamp of 351 towards the end. With regard to the second incident, body-worn camera, a redaction from timestamp 940 to 943 has been agreed to. With regard to the June 15, 2019 incident, there are two 911 calls and one body-worn camera sought by the state to which the defense has no redactions. The August 28th, 2019 incident for which there is no redactions to the body-worn camera, but there is a 19-page PDF with photos that the defense intends to be included with that submittal, to which the state has no objection. As to the fifth event, 3 photos of the defendant, body-worn camera, and a 911 call for which there are no redactions. Does that clarify everything for the state?
Thank you.
Is there anything that I stated incorrectly, Mr. Beck, Mr. Henderson, or Mr. Owens?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving to the next issue with regard to the 119 pages from Winter Park. Defense, are you in a position to provide, I believe we discussed it either Friday or I think it was last week, we discussed it as to how it was culled down. Yes, because we had the Richardson hearing on Friday, how that list was culled down and the additional pages that the state was seeking. And then if they were able to find, I believe it was page 68, we would readdress that. Have you provided that finalized exhibit to the defense as to those specific Winter Park health records from the 119 pages that the defense may be seeking to enter into evidence?
We did receive everything from us, Your Honor. We identified those documents that were not specifically addressed by the defense that the state wanted extension out of rule of completeness. I believe
But my understanding from Mr. J was that they were looking for the tangible copy of what it is that you were actually looking to move in, those 12, 14, 15 pages. Okay, if you could provide that to them by noon, I would appreciate it.
I'm not sure if it's, that's what I'm saying.
But if it's going to be moved into evidence, we have is it going to be moved in paper form, or is it going to be moved in digital by virtue of a CD?
We can get it, Judge. We'll work on it.
Okay, perfect. Just get it to the state. It doesn't have to be intangible. Just get them what it is that if it's an electronic format, that's fine. Just the state should be entitled to know what it is that y'all are intending to move out of those pages just to confirm it. Lastly, with regard to hospital records of the victim, I know there were conversations and discussions about that list being narrowed down. The state has advised that details as to those narrowed down records has not yet been provided. What say the defense?
The hospital records for the victim, George Torres.
That's my understanding.
We need to do that, Judge. We've got to do that.
Okay. My understanding is that the experts are potentially teed up to testify tomorrow. I don't recall if those records are a basis of the experts' opinions.
The second expert is not likely to testify until Thursday. She's testifying in Bay County tomorrow. I will be here Thursday. I spoke with Dr. Brandon last night. He will be present tomorrow morning as soon as he gets here from court.
Did either Doctors Brandon or Harper rely on those medical records?
Dr. Harper did. It's in her deposition that was taken a couple of weeks ago. I think the question was posed.
Ms. Perez, good morning. If you were here for pretrial, 19 Alpha, Judge Myers is covering.
I wrote everything.
Okay, thank you. You may
Wrong
continue.
courtroom. Get out of here, lawyer. You're in the wrong courtroom.
Dr. Julie Harper, I know she considered the records of George Torres, and we took Dr. Harper's deposition, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. She was asked by the state about everything that she relied upon, and she did indicate that. Are we going to use or attempt to introduce those records? We'll pare it down if we are.
Okay, you've got till 5 p.m. today to advise the state as to what of those culled down records you're going to be utilizing. So they have the opportunity to review those in advance of Dr. Harper testifying.
And I apologize to Madam Court Reporter for speaking on top of each other. Dr. Brandon testified as a subject matter expert for that specific legal area in this case. And so there are no medical records or any other records that he can rely upon other than his knowledge and expertise.
Okay. All right. State, any other issues we need to address with regard to the discovery issues that you brought to the court's attention this morning?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Moving now to the motion. I have reviewed that motion.
Judge, we were not aware of the motion until you made mention of it, so I need some time for the lawyers.
Oh, come on.
to review it, for us to discuss it, and to see whether or not it has merit or not.
Okay. It was e-filed last night, looks like 9:37, and then sent courtesy copy to myself through Ms. Barrios and you, Ms. Rowans, at 9:38 last night. I'll give the opportunity to review that, and we can address it after the lunch hour. And that'll give the court the opportunity to do any research during the lunch hour on it as well. All right. Anything else, Mr. J?
I looked at it briefly. I'm not for sure exactly what the allegation is. I don't know if we need to talk about that. So excuse me?
I'm not.
Can we approach the bench?
Sure. Come on up, yo.
All right. I will read a few things, then we'll skip through this. Where the jury is now in the courtroom, so we're about 8 minutes behind. Nancy Jo M. again, thank you so much for the 10 Legal Vices memberships. I didn't want to shortchange my gratitude to you for that. Emily G says, I thought Sarah would go last. Are we really going through the trial that fast? No, she has to go first for the defense, because the defense is going to be putting on this battered spouse syndrome defense. But to do that, in order for them to have a foundation for putting on that defense, she has to identify what is the overt act, what is the act that he committed at that time that put her in imminent fear of great bodily harm or death. So they can't even put on this defense until she says what it was that night that made her fear for her life to the point where she was justified in killing him. So she has to go first. Once she's done, then they can put on all the experts to say, oh, she's a battered spouse. And that's what they're doing. That's why she is going first, because they didn't want to talk about what the overt act was before. And Sheena Farrow says Antoinette mentioned the defense saying Brian is a hostile witness, so we're just discussing how that all works. He was a witness for the defense. He's a defense witness, but the prosecution. He was a witness for the prosecution, but the prosecution, they are done with him, and the defense did not cross-examine. The defense wanted to call him as a witness for their case, but he's going to be hostile to their position. So basically what being a hostile witness means is that they get to ask him leading questions. That's essentially, the direct examination of Brian will sort of be treated like a cross-examination, where they get to ask him the leading questions and whatnot, which they could do when they cross-examined him anyway, but I mean, I'm just assuming that he's going to be designated a hostile witness because, he testified against her indirect, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There'll be more to that as we get closer. Exactly how he's going to be treated and what the implications are will be decided depending on the first few things they say when he takes the stand. All right, so let's fast forward.
They're ready to proceed. Mr. J shook his head yes. Defense, you ready to proceed? Mr. Owens, you ready to proceed, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Boone, are you still satisfied with your lawyer's representation of you in this matter?
Absolutely.
Are you still on board with the strategy that they have employed in the use of your defense?
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and stand and bring in our panel.
All right. Jury's coming in.
Your attention and your sacrifice in this.
Get through the niceties and get her back on the
Mr. Henderson, you
stand.
may proceed with any
Cross-examination. When she's done, the prosecution is going to rest. The defense will make all their motions for the directed verdict, and they'll get rejected. Then they'll put on their case. And Sarah Boone will be the first witness.
Were you the first officer to respond to the crime scene?
No.
So there were other officers who were there prior to you arriving, is that correct?
Yes.
Were you the first detective to respond to it?
We're currently 4 minutes behind.
Myself and my partner, we all arrived at the same time because we left from the same location at the same time.
Okay, and who's your partner now?
Detective Scott Lowen.
And throughout the whole time, you and Detective Lowen worked on this case together, is that correct?
Yes, he assisted me with this case.
Now, when you arrived on the 24th, approximately how many other officers were there?
Including like deputy sheriffs, like in uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Approximately 4, maybe, I would assume.
Had it been designated a crime scene at that time? And had tape or security measures been taken to protect the scene?
Yes, they have.
All right, so that had already been done by the time that you arrived, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, in the investigation, one of your, or what you're trying to accomplish in the investigation is basically get a basics of what took place. Would you agree with me there?
Yes, I would.
All right. And you can do that one or two ways, or a combination of ways. One is to take testimony of potential witnesses, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. This day, did you in fact do that?
Yes, I did.
And one of those potential witnesses was Sarah Boone, is that correct?
Yes, it was.
And you took a statement from Sarah Boone because we've all seen it, is that correct?
Yes, we have.
And at that point in time, Ms. Boone did not have to talk to you if she didn't want to, did she?
No, she did
No,
not.
but she did.
So she agreed to talk to you at that point in time?
Yes, she did.
Yes.
Okay. Were there any other witnesses besides Ms. Boone that you talked to on this initial date of the 24th?
Just Brian Boone.
And Mr. Boone told you what, you had a chance to talk to him. He told you his involvement. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, wasn't Mr. Boone's testimony, was that recorded too?
I conducted an audio recording, yes.
Is that standard procedure when you do your interviews to try to record the interviews?
Yes.
What's the benefit of that?
So I know what was said.
Okay. So, and if something goes on for a long time, you can refer back to it. Is that
This is
correct?
the weirdest
Yes.
line of questioning.
All right. So, and out there, that's part of talking to witnesses or potential witnesses. Okay. Also, it's your job too to identify potential physical evidence in a case.
Yes, it is.
All right. And in fact, on the 24th, did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you have anyone assisting you in doing that aspect of it?
Yes, crime scene investigators and digital forensics investigator.
All right. And was Miss Melissa Rothengarten, is that how you pronounce it for me?
Rough Garden.
Rothengarten. Okay. Thank you. Did she help you in that area?
Probably.
She was the lead crime scene investigator, yes.
Okay. So were y'all walking around together? Give the jury an idea of how that process takes place, please.
So yes, when I initially arrived on scene, I introduced myself to Sarah Boone and explained that I wished to go inside her residence, which she gave me consent to go in and look around. I went in, looked around, and then when my CSIs arrived, they would go in, take pictures, and then I kind of leave them to do what they need to do as far as taking pictures and documenting things and measurements. And then that's when I conducted my interviews. And then I would meet back up with my crime scene investigator after interviews were conducted to kind of follow up with like things that I was told that would help us like identify things from the scene. And so, I mean, there's like multiple occasions where I would have met with my crime scene investigator inside the residence.
So this is an ongoing process during that day. You get information, you consult with them, they have information, they consult with you, and you're making a determination of what potential physical evidence that y'all at least like to document by camera, correct? Pictures, or actually collect and take away. Is that correct?
Yes, that's accurate.
All right. In that case, the suitcase was some evidence that y'all agreed on that we need to take this suitcase from the scene. Is that correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay. How about the baseball bat? Was that done that day?
The baseball bat was collected, yes.
All right. In your viewing of the suitcase, did you view the suitcase while it was unseen?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you notice that if there was any items, other independent loose items in the suitcase?
There were, yes.
Were those items collected?
Some of them were, yes.
Who made the determination what items of that suitcase would be taken or collected and what would not be collected?
I would say that I have the final say on what is to be collected or not collected. But we do discuss it together to make that determination for me to give the final yes or no.
Do you recall which items you decided to collect from the suitcase?
Do you have the property form that I can refer to?
No, I'll try to find it.
I know some of them, but
Ma'am, I don't have it, but to the best of your memory, can you tell? And I would understand there would be some stuff that if you had a property report to refresh your memory, you can give me more detail.
yes, to my understanding and to my recollection, we collected things that had blood left over on it. I want to say there was like a necktie potentially. I do recall there being a small amount of clothing and miscellaneous paperwork, but I do not think that we collected the paperwork. There was also a cell phone in there. It was not, it was dead, the cell phone.
She
And
just left his
then,
cell phone in the suitcase with him. But it
like I
was
said, there
dead.
might be one, I think we collected 5 to 6 items from the suitcase itself, but obviously the property form would tell you specifically, but that is what I recall.
Correct, and I understand, and that's fair. Okay, so potentially you collect these items because you believe they're evidence for the case, potentially, is that correct?
Yes.
And some of these items you actually collect with the potential that you might need to have them examined in greater detail, is that correct?
Yes.
An example of something like that would be in this case, if you found blood on something, you might want to potentially examine that, is that correct?
Yes.
And also the stuff that you're learning outside of these items also helps you in making that determination, isn't that correct?
I'm sorry, one more time.
The stuff that you learn, the information that you're getting or you're receiving about what happened at that time will lead you to determine what items might need to be collected and what items might need to be tested.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So out of the items that were collected at the house or the apartment, at those items, was anything to your knowledge sent off for further examination?
I believe so, but if it was, there would be, it would be sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for further testing.
Okay. And do you have an independent memory of what items that were collected from the house that were sent to FDLE for further examination?
I don't recall specifically without looking.
Okay. Now, are you aware at one point in time, there were some fingernail clippings or fingernail swabs taken from Miss Sarah Boone? Is that correct?
Yes.
In fact, that was done on her interview date on would have been the 25th?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what we witnessed in the video.
Yes, you witnessed it in the video. Why are you asking about it?
And I'm sure at the autopsy, which you were present at, is that correct?
Yes.
And those, there would have been some fingertip swabs of George Torres. Or are you familiar with that?
They do swabbing of the hands, to my understanding, and clippings of his nails.
Okay. Do you have an independent memory of the fact that Sarah Boone's fingernail swabs were sent to FDLE for comparison?
I would believe so.
Okay. How about the ones from Mr. Torres? Do you have knowledge that those were sent to FDLE for comparison or identification?
Well, they would have come from him, so I'm not sure what we would have compared him to.
Okay. Were they there to see, or at least they're sent there to see if they can extract DNA?
Oh, okay. Yes. I mean, I'm not sure if they did that testing for his nails clipping specifically, but it would be in the report if so.
Okay. Who would make the decision about sending his finger swabs to FDLE for comparison or evaluation?
I would request it I would request it to the crime scene investigator, and she would author the, I guess, procedure for them to do so. Okay.
And then as to Sarah Boone's swabbings, who requested that those be sent to FDLE for evaluation?
Again, I would assume that I would have done that. I would have requested the CSI to do that.
Are you aware of the results from those evaluations? I'm not asking you for the results, just if you're aware of the results.
I believe I'm aware, but would love to see a report before I specifically answer.
Yes, I'm not going to ask you a specific question about it. Okay. All right. But basically, you're aware that it was done, the procedure was done.
Yes.
The analysis was done. Okay. Now, ma'am, so you're through the first day. Then we get to the second day, which would have been, I believe, the 25th of February. Is that correct?
Yes.
And on the 25th of February was Mr. Torres' autopsy done at that time?
Yes, it was.
Were you present during the autopsy?
Yes, I was.
And did you communicate with the medical examiner at that time?
Yes, I did.
During the course of things, is that where you found out through the medical examiner at the autopsy that there was blunt force trauma injuries?
Yes, that is where I learned more about his injuries.
Now, initially, when you were on the scene on the 24th, did you view Mr. Torres's body?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice in and of yourself on your own something that caused you concern that there might be blunt force trauma injuries?
Yes, I noticed injuries to him, yes.
Okay, so after the
Okay.
autopsy, you had additional information, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Now, there was an interview, well, I don't know if it was an interview, there was a meeting set up for Sarah Boone, is that correct?
Yes.
On the 25th, is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me how that meeting was arranged or how that meeting was set up, please?
So either before I left the scene, the night of the incident, I obviously met with Sarah and told her that we were leaving. We had to go make next of kin notification. And I would have either at that time said I would like to meet tomorrow and arranged it then, at least to like let her know that I would like to meet after the autopsy. And then obviously from watching the video towards the end, she said something about like recalling a conversation that we had, like calling me. So there may have been a phone conversation that occurred later that evening where I either would have confirmed the time or told her the time then. I just don't have that like on an audio. But I know it either took place before I left the scene because I obviously would have, said my goodbyes and told her, hey, we're leaving. We're going to make next of kin notification. She was very concerned about that. So I would want her to know that we were doing that. So it either took place then or it took place on that phone conversation that we had.
Okay. All right. The day prior to that, on the 24th, ma'am, you received Sarah Boone's phone, is that correct?
Yes, her phone was on the scene, yes.
And when you received that phone, Sarah Boone had given you that phone, is that correct?
No, she was not allowed in the apartment to give me the phone.
I'm sorry, did she give you permission to take the phone?
Yes.
Okay, is that correct?
They would have
Yes, I was
taken it
given
even if
permission
they
to go
didn't
through her
give her
phone, yes.
permission.
Because at that time, you hadn't applied for any type of search warrant to get or search the phone, is that correct?
No, it was based off of consent.
Okay, so she had consented to you for you to have her phone,
Yes.
is that correct? She also provided you the code to get in the phone, is that correct?
Yes.
So at this point in time, Ms. Boone is cooperating with you, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, do you recall telling her, Ms. Boone, that she could get her phone back the next day?
I don't recall specifically telling her when she would be able to get her phone back, but I did say something along the lines of we were now going to be taking the phone. I obviously had digital come out or consent to go through her phone. There was evidence on her phone that I needed to be downloaded. And at the time, I was willing to give back her phone before going through it. And then once we had gone through it, and those videos were found, I felt like this was very different and it changed my perspective on consent. And I decided at that time that it was best to write a search warrant. So consent couldn't be basically like I knew I was going to take her phone. So consent has to be basically given to me throughout the entire period. So she would have had no way to contact me to tell me she no longer consented. So therefore, because there was evidence on the phone, I took the phone. Basically, I potentially told her, maybe we didn't get a full download. I may have said something along the lines of that. As far as me taking the phone, and then I wrote a search warrant. I either started writing the search warrant the night of, but it wasn't signed until I didn't submit it until the next day. And then it was signed the next day on the 25th.
So basically what you're telling us is that she could have withdrawn her consent at any time.
And she
prior to
didn't.
that search warrant being received, is that correct?
Well, while I was on scene, but at the end of the day, there was evidence on the phone. So I knew I could I could get a search warrant to go through the phone based off there being evidence. Like the 911 calls and her explaining to me that they had spoken to family members.
Please silence your cell phones.
since they had explained to me that they spoke with
I'm
family
going
members
to
the
go.
night
Judge
prior.
shows
So I wanted
emotion.
to obviously
Judge was
corroborate
pissed
her
there.
statement.
Judge shows emotion. Mark it off.
So
on
I
the
knew
video
that
card.
I would be able to get into the phone through a search warrant. But yeah, she could have not consented and she could have not signed the paper consenting while we were on scene.
But before you left scene, you knew that Sarah Boone was not going to get that phone back. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So when Sarah Boone called you the next day, asking you about bringing her phone back, did you just tell her, Ms. Boone, you're not getting your phone back?
There was not a conversation about her not getting her phone back. She may have inquired about her phone, and I would have explained that we will talk about it when we meet that afternoon.
Okay. So
He's trying to undermine the state by saying the
Did you
cops
reach out
lied
to
to her to get her to
Ms. Boone
come
that
to
next
the
day?
interview, which there's nothing wrong with doing that.
I don't recall a specific if she reached out to me the night of the 24th or before the interview on the 25th. I don't have my call records for that. I'm just basing it off of the interview where she had basically said that, yeah, I have your business card and I can contact you like I did. So my assumption would be that we did have some sort of conversation either the night of the 24th or before the interview on the 25th.
on the 20th, did you make arrangements with Sarah Boone to meet with her on the 25th?
So I either made arrangements on the 24th with her before leaving the scene, and I would have told her I would like to meet with you the next day. Or I said, and I may have given her a specific time at that moment, or when we spoke later that evening on the phone, I may have confirmed the time or given her a time then. But she definitely knew that we were meeting at 3 p.m. on the 25th at Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations.
And ma'am, you just don't remember at what point in time you informed her to set up this meeting with her. Is that correct?
It's one or the other.
One or the other?
Yes.
Okay. As it to it being one or the other, you did you prepared the investigative report in this case. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And the investigative report, you basically summarized everything that took place on this case up to a certain point.
Yes, it was a summary. Yes.
All right. As far as evidence, as far as witnesses who were talked to and synopsis of what they said to you at that time, is that correct?
Yes, things that I did specifically. It was a summary of that.
I found your investigative report to be in great detail because it helped me track this case from basically beginning to not to the end, but to the point where the report stops. And it seems like in your investigative report, you are very thorough about details. Is that correct?
I would say I'm a detailed person. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So being the detailed person you are and absolutely doing your law enforcement training, they train you that your report should be very much in detail. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because you might have to refer back to them at a later time. Is that one of the reasons? Is that correct?
Yes, and to prepare myself for depositions and trials.
Okay, and just to give an accurate picture of what you did and what took place and what people told you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Being as thorough as you are with these contacts with people, I didn't see in the investigative report when the arrangement was made with Sarah Boone to meet you down and where
she didn't put the date and time she
Central
scheduled the
Operations.
meeting in her
to meet you
notes,
at the
so
Orange
therefore
County
she's not guilty.
Sheriff's Office.
Huh?
I did not see that in the report. Do you have an explanation why?
It's not typically something I would put in my report.
Yes, very quickly, he's saying they had this meeting. They arranged the meeting. We know when the
Do you
meeting
remember
happened, but
in,
she didn't put in her
having
notes
the
what
conversation
time
with,
she contacted Sarah to arrange for the meeting. So
Ms.
therefore,
Boone?
Sarah must be not
About
guilty.
this meeting that was supposed to take place, that You said that you could not return the phone to her that day because you were not feeling very good. You remember telling her that?
That never happened.
Okay.
Oh, zing! Sarah lied. That's her answer.
Ma'am.
Sarah lied.
Judge, if I could have a moment.
Yes, sir, of course.
I have a few minutes to figure out what I'm doing here, where I'm going with these questions.
Ma'am, during this time frame, were you pregnant at this time?
What?
At that time?
Relevant.
Yes, I was.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, Miss Boone.
What the hell's going on here?
There
Oh
was
my God, what
a
are you
meeting
doing?
arranged. Is that correct?
For the 25th at 3 p.m., yes.
Yes, and Miss Boone showed up for that meeting.
She did.
25th.
Yes.
We saw it. Okay. Now, ma'am, I'd like to talk to you about some other investigation.
Oh my God, this is. What is happening?
Other witnesses that you.
I love how the prosecution is just letting him ramble the hell on too. Good for the prosecution.
Okay. Do you remember Abraham Moreno?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take his recorded statement?
Yes, I did.
All right. At the time that you took Mr. Moreno's recorded statement, was there anyone else with you?
My partner should have been with me, Detective Scott Lowen.
Excuse me?
My partner should have been with me, Detective Scott Lowen.
Okay.
You had pregnancy brain, didn't you? Didn't you? Oh my God. Yep. Is he trying to blame Brian? I don't know what the hell's going on here. It doesn't matter when or where they made the arrangements for the meeting. This guy has not asked a single good question. He hasn't asked a single relevant question.
Ma'am, as to who was with you, would it help refresh your memory if you were to see your investigative report as to that interview?
Your Honor, I would object. She hasn't said that she needs any aid in refreshing her memory.
Objection sustained.
No, she doesn't need to see it because
Ma'am,
she didn't say she
was
doesn't know.
Detective Scott Lowen with you during that interview?
Yes, I believe so.
May we approach?
Yes.
Oh my God. What on earth is happening here? And we are now officially live, people. Oh my God. Now we don't know who the sitting jury is, but we know there are 6 men and 8 women that are hearing this. Some are actual jurors, some are alternates. 8 women just heard this guy say, were you pregnant at the time? You don't remember this stuff? That ain't gonna be good. I am sure the female jurors did not enjoy
Ma'am, do you
that.
have an independent memory of Detective Scott Lowen being with you at that interview?
I believe my partner was with me on the interview. Yes, I typically wouldn't go and do some follow-up without my partner being with me.
Thank you very much. Now, ma'am, did that interview, what date did that interview take place on?
I believe the 26th, February 26th of 2020.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, was that interview recorded?
It was audio recorded.
Was the entire interview audio recorded?
Yes, the entire interview was audio recorded.
Dude, we heard it. We heard it. Are these lawyers part of Owen's practice? I think they're just people that he convinced to join him, or they convinced him to let them join. I don't know. I don't know why this
Ma'am,
guy's here. Even the judge said you just kind of parachuted into the
by the
end.
name of Brandon Moats.
Yes, I am.
On February the 27th of 2020, did you interview Brandon Moats?
I believe so. It was either the 26th or 27th. Yes.
If you were to see your investigative report, would that help refresh your memory?
All right, I'm going to again object. She hasn't indicated that she needs assistance with her memory.
Approaching.
Ooh, the judge. Mark Judge calls for sidebar on your bingo card, by the way. When a judge does this, the vast majority of the time, it's to tell the lawyers to stop doing something. This is the second time.
Objection sustained.
This is the second time that he's asked her if she wants to refer to her notes when she hasn't said, I don't recall or I don't remember.
Ma'am, if it was the 27th,
In relation to what he's
you would
asking.
not disagree with that, would you?
She is trying
Well,
not to
I
giggle.
just stated that
I'm
I was
trying
either the
not to.
26th or 27th.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, Mr. Moats, he was the neighbor living in the apartment, or the connecting apartment, wall apartment, with Ms. Boone and Mr. Torres, is that correct?
Yes.
And he's the one who told you about the loud noise, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you interview anyone else in reference to that loud noise?
So I was interviewing Brandon, and then my partner was interviewing Vincent, the other witness, and I came in at the end of the interview with Detective Lowen.
Okay, so that's Vincent. Do you know his last name?
I would butcher it.
Me too, but tag Lowen, something like that. We're talking about the same person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did that interview take place on February the 27th of 2020?
I believe so. I interviewed witnesses after I interviewed Sarah. The 26th or 27th would be my memory.
Okay, thank you. And then did he also talk to you about a loud noise?
I believe that I was refreshed on the conversation, and yes, he expressed hearing a loud noise as well.
Okay, thank you. Now, and those interviews were actually audio recorded too, is that correct?
Yes, they were.
Now let's go to Ms. Boone's interview. And that would have took place on the 25th, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Boone came down. And ma'am, prior to Ms. Boone coming down for the interview, had y'all made the decision that Ms. Boone was going to be arrested?
Yes, I plan to arrest Sarah Boone.
Okay. Did you tell Ms. Boone in arranging the meeting that when she came down there, she was going to be arrested?
Your Honor, I'm going to object this for relevance.
Approach.
Oh my Lord. Oh, no. He's got to be. Why would you say come down to be arrested? In what realm of existence would a police officer say, we're going to arrest you? Why don't you come on down? No. And he can't possibly be arguing that they laser focused on her. They were planning on arresting her, to the exclusion of all other possibilities. They can't possibly be doing that, because she made it a point repeatedly to tell everybody that would listen, it was only him and her at the house. There was nobody else. There's a dead guy and someone who's alive. There ain't nobody else there while he's alive and dying. I'm at a loss. I got no idea what's going on here, chat. I don't have any idea what this guy is doing. Oh my gosh. I wish I could help. I wish I could give you some clarification, but even I don't know what's going on. 200-watt studio says a third time, would it help refresh your memory? Objection sustained. Oh, no further questions. No, unfortunately, he would never do he only said this was going to be at most 30 minutes. Wrap it up then, dude. This is weird. 200-watt studio also with the $2. Detective bedroom eyes. Socks and holsters stay on. Rower. Lancelot 652 with the $5. Good to see the government has advanced up to CDs. Maybe in a few years they learn about thumb drives. Oh, he won that objection. Wow. I mean, the defense won that objection argument.
So, ma'am, at that time, you did not tell Ms. Boone prior to coming down there that she was going to be arrested.
Why?
Is that correct?
No, I did not.
Okay. Why did you not tell Ms. Boone that she was going to be arrested?
We planned to meet at 3 p.m. and go over the autopsy and have another interview.
Why would you tell them they're going to be arrested?
I'm not sure why I would tell her that she's going to be arrested. That would potentially cause her to flee.
Exactly. She's trying not to laugh.
Come, and then we have to go find her and make it more difficult for everyone.
Or potentially get an attorney to come with her.
She was read her rights that said that she has a right to an attorney. And if one cannot be provided for her, she will be appointed one.
I understand that. You read her those rights when she got there. Is that
yes.
Correct?
Yes, I did.
You didn't read those rights to her before she got there, though, did she?
I wasn't in contact with her.
Wait a minute. He just said you didn't read her rights before she came there? Why the fuck would you do that? In what realm of existence? In what realm of existence? In all the multiverse, in which dimension would a police officer go, we want you to come down here at 3 p.m. so we can arrest you. Oh, and by the way, you have the right to remain silent. Before you get here, I just want to tell you, you got the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you, etc., etc. What is happening? Oh my God.
Physical contact with her.
I don't understand. Help me. I'm just an unfrozen caveman lawyer, but I don't understand this.
Potentially, she could have got an attorney too to come with her. Is that not correct?
I misunderstood your question. I didn't hear potentially bring an attorney with her, but yes, I guess she potentially brought an attorney with her.
She could have done that without being read her rights. Oh my God.
So Ms. Boone shows up and you tell her that some things that we need to talk about. Is that correct?
It's specific verbiage. I know I said something along the lines of obviously the autopsy had been conducted and there were things that we needed to talk about in regards to that.
And prior to discussing it with her and asking her questions, you did read her Miranda warnings. Is that correct?
Prior to, I'm sorry, one more time?
Before you started asking her questions, though, in this interview, before you started asking Ms. Boone's questions, you read her Miranda warnings. Is that correct?
Of course.
Yes, before I started asking any sort of potentially incriminating questions, she was read her Miranda warnings, yes.
Okay. Ma'am, do you remember, as part of the Miranda warnings that you read to Ms. Boone, did you read her the one that states that if you decide to answer questions, but want to stop answering and consult with an attorney, you may do so? Do you independently remember reading Ms. Boone that instruction?
That's not on their card.
I don't recall that specific, but I do have my Miranda card on me, but I don't recall that that's what that says.
Yeah, that's not under Miranda.
But it is on audio and video recording.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so confused.
Now, ma'am, at that point in time, Ms. Boone wasn't under arrest. Is that correct?
Ms. Boone was not going to be free to leave once she was in my custody.
At that point in time, had you told Ms. Boone that she was not free to leave?
No, I did not.
She wouldn't have to. She
At
didn't
that point
try.
in
She didn't
time,
ask.
had you told Ms. Boone that she was under arrest?
I told her at the end of the interview.
Okay, before the interview.
No, I did not tell her before the interview.
She wasn't under arrest. She just wasn't free to leave. She was
Ma'am.
being detained. Different.
Why didn't you tell her before the interview?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to asked and answered.
Overruled.
So I have to read her her Miranda warnings, and that's what I did. I do not have to tell her that she is under arrest at that time.
Was there a reason? Could you have told her that she was under arrest before me reading her Miranda warning?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as it calls for speculation.
Sustained.
All right. I'm getting high strung.
Ma'am, was
I
it
need
a
to relight my
strategic
cigar, but my damn
decision
torch is out
not
of
to
gas.
tell Ms. Boone that she was under arrest prior to reading her those Miranda warnings?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to relevance.
Approach.
Uh-oh, it's gone quiet. What happened? Why is it gone quiet? What did I miss? I leave the room for 20 seconds and something's happened. And she's not amused. Oh, it's a sidebar. Okay, who called for the sidebar? Need to refill my torch here. Wow. Oh, the judge called for the sidebar. Oh, good. And it's a long one. So I hope we've all marked off a judge shows emotion on our bingo card. And also mark off prosecutor frustration. Let's see. Oh, we got dog cam as well. All right, we should have lawyer calls for sidebar, dog cam, suitcase, judge shows emotion, judge calls for sidebar, wine, lawyer confused. We had one what if any, prosecutor frustration, and hide and seek. Those are the things that should be marked off on your bingo card. I only need Vice's boomers something. Chat, would it be okay if I just intentionally boomered something so that I can get bingo? Is that cheating? Oh, no. Yeah, this judge has got to be over this. This is the weirdest questioning I remember. I'm sure I've heard a weirder line.
Objection is sustained.
Ma'am, and we were able to see the video of the interview. As a process of interviewing people.
Sophie, we already had what, if any?
Such as Ms. Boone, well, let me specifically. In the process of interviewing Ms. Boone, is law enforcement free to give information that might not be accurate or true during the interview process?
Are you asking if we're allowed to lie to her?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, to an extent.
Oh, dear.
Was that done at any time in this interview?
Did I lie to her? I don't recall lying to her, no.
I confer, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Now's where he leans back and goes, Mr. Owens, help. Help me. Help me. Did we have lawyer overreacting? We've had lawyer underreacting.
Examination.
All right, let's go for some redirect.
Can this witness be released? State.
We have her subject to recall.
Okay.
Subject to recall.
Big
Have you released
shock.
subject to recall?
They're
Thank you.
not going to redirect with her. No need to follow. No need to rebut any of
State
that
any other
weird shit.
witnesses, evidence, or testimony to be produced.
All right, this time the state would rest.
Okay.
Boom.
Members of the jury, it is 10:22 a.m. I have some matters with counsel that I need to address. So we're going to excuse you for a short while. It's a great opportunity for us to take our morning break as well. Similar instruction that I've given to you over the last couple of days. Please do not discuss this case amongst yourselves or anyone else. Do not conduct any independent research or investigation as to the person, places, things, or charge involved in this case. And we'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Thank you.
Jury exiting.
Oh, wow. All right. The prosecution has rested. That man's suit is tight. It's well tailored. Oh, man. So
Y'all may be seated. Thank you. Defense, any motions?
Judge, we do have some motions, but my client needs a comfort break.
Okay.
If we could do that, because it may be
Sarah gotta
fairly
pee.
lengthy.
Agreed. Let's go ahead and take that break. Court's going to be in recess for 10 minutes, and then we'll pick up any motion practice at that point in time. Court's going to be off the record. Thank you.
all right, court is now officially off the record. We will insmallen the court here. Where is it? Where's the there we go. And right, so 10 minutes to figure out what the hell just happened. Hayden says law news and laughter with Aussie Overlord. Aussie Overlord Hayden says 2 to 3 weeks, my ass. Well, we are in week 2. It was 2 to 3 weeks inclusive of jury selection. And we're kind of in week 2 because of the typhoon and the hurricane and whatnot. So I'm guessing that this will probably wrap up by Monday or Tuesday of next week. They've already talked about the witnesses that they're going to be calling on Thursday. So I'd assume Friday and maybe closing arguments on Monday or Tuesday, and a verdict in about 7.5 minutes. Man. All right. We currently have 853 people here and 604 likes. Let's get down there and smash that like button, people. We got a 10-minute break here. We got 10 minutes to do all this. No hurries, but let's just do it right now while we are all thinking about it. She said, "Get out there and go take a pee, Sarah. I'm gonna watch you. You're not running away now, Sarah." Oh, there's the there we go. On your bingo card, everyone mark off. That's the great seal of the state of Florida, so we can mark off Celine Gomez, the Celine Gomez there.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much.
No, we don't need your audio.
For watching.
We are a couple minutes behind, so we'll fast forward there. All right. So let's take a look at our like and subscribe poll, because this is happening now, people. This is happening now. They're going to make a couple of motions. The defense is going to make a motion for a directed verdict. They're going to say that no reasonable juror could possibly find, even if you interpreted things in the light most favorable to the prosecution, there's no way that any member of the jury could reasonably conclude that Sarah Boone is guilty of these crimes. Please dismiss the case. And the judge is going to go, no. So that's just a formality they always have to go through. It just happens. So that's one of the motions. And apparently there's a couple of other motions to go through before Sarah Boone takes the stand. But let's look at our like and subscribe poll here, because this is what's going to be coming up next as far as a substantive testimony in the trial. Sarah Boone will be the first witness for the defense. It's a predicate for them to make their entire battered spouse syndrome case. How will Sarah do on the stand? Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and then take the poll. How will Sarah Boone do on the stand? 2% of you say she'll be okay on both direct and cross. So basically nobody thinks that. And 7% say she's going to crush the prosecutor. I'm surprised that 7% of you think she's going to crush the prosecutor on cross-examination. 24% of you say direct will be okay. Cross will be very bad. I'm probably in that camp. I think she'll do well under cross-examination. I mean, under direct examination. I'm being generous, I guess. And 66% of you, 2/3 of you, say Sarah Boone, the whole thing will be a disaster. The whole thing is going to be a disaster. And I would expect Sarah to be on the stand probably for the rest of the day. So I'm going to have to make a decision what to do at lunch. So yeah, I'm just going to have to see. I'll have to see if I've got it in me to take a quick power nap and then come back. Oh my gosh. Right. Let's see what we've got going on over in Super Chat Town here. 200-watt studio with the $5 says, yes, this lawyer won a chance to be on this trial after he sent in 5 Cheerios box tops. It could be. They could have something to do with it. And 200-watt studio also said, for another $5, before you read Ms. Boone her rights, did you check to see if she had earpods that may make her unable to hear you clearly? Yeah. And 200-watt studio with the $2. There's a lot to unpack with that last cross. There is, and I don't know how to unpack any of it, really. I'm unclear what happened. The Apostle Steve. It's been a while. Hope all is well. Thanks for the coverage. It has been Apostle Steve. Thank you so much for the super chat. Good to see you again. Stick around this time. Don't go away. Lone Star Living with a $5. Can I mark off Sarah is the victim because they didn't tell her she was being arrested? No, she's got to make there's got to be specific testimony that she was in fact the battered spouse. But don't worry, when she takes the stand, you'll be able to check that box off pretty darn quickly. And Adara the Wholesome with the $2. Can we get a bingo recap and a pet for the doggos? The dogs are out of arm's reach, and they're both, well, Strawberry's not sleeping, but she's out of arm's reach. I'm not going to touch Yoda because he'll wake up. Oh, he just woke up. He heard his name. No, back to sleep. All right, an update on the bingo card. These are if you've checked the bingo card, it's linked right up there at the top of Rumble and YouTube. Right at the top of the chat, just click generate on that, and you can play along at home. Right, the bingo game for today. Here's your answers. Lawyer calls for sidebar. Dog cam. Suitcase. Judge shows emotion. Celine Gomez, the seal, the Great Seal of the state of Florida, which we are looking at here in the bottom right corner. Judge calls for sidebar. What, if any? Lawyer confused. Wine, we've had lots of wine mentions. The prosecutor is frustrated, prosecutor frustration. and hide and seek. Mark those off on your bingo card. Those are what I have seen. And I'll give you a dog snores too. Mark off dog snores, because I know I saw a couple of people mention it. So there we go. Whew. It was not intentional. We'll get there too. Don't worry about that. I'm sure that's going to be one of the first things she mentions as well. So stand by to check that off at the appropriate time. Thank you again, 200 Watt Studio. You're being pretty dang generous tonight. Thank you very much for that. Oh my gosh. And what we will do is once Sarah is completely off the stand, whether that's today, tomorrow, whatever, we will put up our midstream Sarah Boone, guilty, not guilty. Because there's two questions that we have to look at here. One is do you think she's guilty or not guilty based on what you've seen so far? And the other question is, how do you think the jury will respond? Do you think the jury will find her guilty, not guilty, guilty of a lesser included charge, such as manslaughter, or will they just be a hung jury and we get to do this all over again? If through some weird, again, multiverse crossover issue problem, if we jump timelines or something, there may be theoretically, we cannot. Right, if young black economist is still here, she can confirm that it's not there's no such thing really as a 0%, as an absolute 0%. So the possibility of a hung jury is not an absolute 0% chance. So in the off chance there is a hung jury, there ain't no way this is going back for a retrial unless she is completely out of her mind. Man, this is insane. I honest to God don't know what that guy was on about during his cross-examination. Oh, Denise Sal's got a bingo. Cool. I have a question for chat, for the 809 of you that are here. Looking at my camera in studio, my camera is choppy. Is anyone else seeing a choppy camera from me, or is it just my computer? That's the question I have for y'all. Oh, it is choppy. Well, that is probably going to take a reboot of the computer to solve, so deal with it. Choppy-ish. Oh, well, we'll just have to deal with it as best we can, which is just ignore it. Like, I got nothing. All right, so I'm just trying to think of things to say about that cross-examination. And I'm coming up blank. I was stunned by well, you were pregnant at the time, weren't you? Now, I'm supposing he asked that question because he was talking about how she said that she wasn't going to go get it. She wasn't going to go give Sarah the phone, and then Sarah had to come and get the phone. I'm thinking that he was asking her if she was pregnant as a way of explaining why Sarah had to come to the station to pick up the phone. But it sounded really, really bad. Now, I'm just a dude, so I don't know. The women in chat, when you heard him ask, were you pregnant at the time? Did you go, oh, that's why he's asking it? Or did you do the WTF was that? I'd be curious to see what you women thought of that question when you heard it. Oh, Stacy says, I absolutely said WTF. I did the WTF, says Majin. Linda, WTF. It seems like everybody had the WTF. All the ladies had the WTF in chat. All right. Across the board. Seemed odd and irrelevant. Well, that's being very nice, Island. Wow. I thought, wait, where'd that go? Wow, you guys are just never go to the police station when they ask you to come down. You make them come and get you. I thought it was rude. I did, but also a good point. All the dudes were thinking the same thing. I did, but you know, there's 8 men and 6 women jurors. I don't know what the breakdown is for the actual jurors versus alternates, but it's damn near half women. So I would imagine that there was a little bit of weirdness going through the minds of the of the jurors. We should be coming back here before too long. They said 10 minutes, and how long ago was that? That was 13 minutes ago. They said 10 minutes. That's kind of what she's saying. They never even told her to come and pick it up. They just said they had some more questions for her. But even if they did use picking up the phone as a pretext to come down there, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. He's just trying to show, the cops lied. She's like, can we lie? Yeah. Did I know? Which may be a lie in and of itself. But no, it wouldn't be a lie now because she's under oath. And cops never lie under oath. No, the prosecution didn't. See, that's what I'm saying. I like the fact that the prosecution just let the weirdness fly. They're like, all right, this guy is asking some weird ass questions, and they only started to object when it went on too long, and he kept asking the same questions over and over again. And when he kept asking her if she wanted to refer to her notes to help refresh her memory, when she never said that she couldn't remember. Now, she said, I did it on this day or this day. That's not saying I don't remember. It's saying it was either this day or this day. That's different than saying I have no idea when I did it. So yeah, the prosecution just let him go. Oh dear. Did Sarah only recall the videos when they were presented to her? Again, the link to the sheriff's office interrogation is in the description below. You can go back and watch that. But yes, when they had her in the interrogation room in the sheriff's office, they asked her if she made any videos on Sunday, and she said no. I don't recall. I don't recall making any videos on Sunday. Then they said, well, why don't you look at these? And she still, even when she was seeing the videos, she said, I don't remember making these videos. And then she said, oh, I throw up all the time. I don't want to watch this. Do I have to watch this? So yeah, even when she was shown the videos that were taken from her own phone, she said she didn't remember making them. Which either she's lying, she's dumb, or she was so liquored up that she didn't remember it. But see, this is the interesting thing. I was thinking about this while we were listening to the in-car questioning on audio during the afternoon session that we watched at the beginning of this stream. If Sarah had not videoed George in that suitcase, I think she may have walked. I think she may have walked. Yeah, we played hide and seek. I accidentally fell asleep. I thought he was going to come up, and I fell asleep. But man, they've got that video, and that really, really changes that narrative. Also, others of you have thought that as well. That if she hadn't have made those 2 videos, She may never have been charged, but even if she was, I think there would be a good chance that she would walk. But yeah, no, not not with those videos. And again, without the videos, I mean, she probably wouldn't have thought about it. She could have blamed it on, a kinky thing where, hey, we enjoy doing that sort of stuff, and alcohol got our brains, and yeah, the text saying, I'll get rid of him, Torres, 6 weeks before she got rid of him.
We're back on the record, 2020 CF 2603, State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Appearances for the state.
Yes, sure. On behalf of the state, William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Miss Boone. Tony Henderson.
Why are the closed captions not working?
For Sarah Boone.
Do we have any motions? You may proceed. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this time the defense would move for a judgment acquittal.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with just a real quick couple of comments, Your Honor. We know that JOA motions have become essentially pro forma, which may be why I've been assigned this responsibility today. But in this instance, I want to make an argument that I think has some merit. I've been paying close attention to the testimony in this case, and I want to point a couple things out. First of all, we know that the court has essentially assumed the role and is assigned the role of becoming a gatekeeper in this matter. We know from the testimony that's been presented in this matter that not only did law enforcement, but also the Office of the State Attorney had knowledge of these parties prior to the event having occurred. And despite that, the state has proceeded with this prosecution based upon criminal information as opposed to having taken it to the grand jury. That kind of places the court in a special position to evaluate the nature of the evidence that's been presented. I want to focus on the second-degree murder allegation. And one thing that occurred to me while watching the evidence as it was presented, watching the videos, particularly the interrogation, was part of the dialogue between Ms. Boone as well as Detective Scott Lowen at the end of the interrogation. And I'm going to paraphrase. I apologize. I should have written this down verbatim. I did not. But
would you like to refer to your notes to refresh your memory?
Placed under arrest. And her response is, "Why are you doing this?" The detective's response to Ms. Boone is, "Because George is dead."
I'm sorry.
Because George is dead. That's not enough. It's not enough to support a second-degree murder, prosecution, conviction, or should it even be enough to allow this matter to go to the jury? Now, there are three elements of
There's more to it than that, pal.
Information. The first is that the victim is dead, that Mr. Torres is dead. We stipulated to his identity. There has been no argument to the fact or the idea that.
Okay, first element has been satisfied.
However, the state also has to show that it was caused by a criminal act and that the act was imminently dangerous and demonstrated a depraved mind. Now, the fact that it was imminently dangerous, I think, is belied by the fact that Jorge Torres voluntarily entered the suitcase, albeit under the influence of alcohol. But the perception of dangerousness that's attributable to the victim, apparently he did not perceive it to be a dangerous or an imminently dangerous situation in having entered the suitcase, possibly because of the influence of alcohol on his capacity to make decisions, should necessarily be attributed to the defendant as well. But I also want to focus on the depravity issue, which the state must prove, and pursuant to the jury instruction in this matter, depravity is equivocated, is made the equivalent of ill will, hatred, spite, or evil intent.
Did you see the video,
That's
counselor?
not enough. Not only does the state have to show depravity, but it has to show, because it's in the conjunctive, that the act demonstrates an indifference to human life.
Did you see the video, counselor?
The
I
state
ask you
has
again.
presented testimony, an argument in this matter, not argument, but testimony that in fact George Torres was suffering. Suffering does not equal hatred. It does not equal ill will. And even if they were to establish negligence, that's not homicidal.
Fuck you. How does that sound?
That
This is what it's like when you choke me. This is what it's like when you cheat on me. Shh. How does that sound? Does that sound a little malicious to you? Is that a little bit?
Courts have been very, very cognizant of and very sensitive to. We know it from the field of capital punishment and incarceration. The idea that somebody suffers is not in and of itself homicidal, nor should it support the idea that there was indifference to the life of George Torres by Sarah Boone. Was she angry? I think there's clear evidence that she was angry. But that's not hatred. And that's the element that has to be proven here. And I don't think that there is prima facie case that in fact she demonstrated hatred so much as she demonstrated anger. Doesn't establish a prima facie case of second-degree murder. It's for those reasons, Your Honor, that I think that this matter should be, the motion for JOA as to second-degree murder should be granted, and this matter should be allowed to proceed solely on a manslaughter charge because, in fact, they have not established prima facie elements as required by law. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Response.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, hey, I dropped an F-bomb. F-bomb on the bingo. All right, I got a bingo
Standard
too.
this time is just a prima facie case, whether any trier of fact in taking all the facts in the light most favorable to the state and the inferences drawn from them establish the elements of the crime. There are three elements to this crime. George Torres is dead has been established by a prima facie case. The death was caused by the criminal act of Sarah Boone that has been established. There was an unlawful killing of George Torres by an act imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life. An act is imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind if it is an act or series of acts that a person of ordinary judgment would know is reasonably certain to kill or do serious bodily injury to another. It's not Miss Boone's subjective statements on February 25th. I had no idea you could die from being zipped into a suitcase for 13, 15 minutes before she goes to bed. 2, is done from ill will, hatred, spite, or an evil intent. We heard what she said. The 2-minute video starting at 11:12 p.m. 45 seconds should be linked in Merriam-Webster's digital dictionary for the definition of depraved mind. Fuck you, I don't care, laughing is of such a nature that the act itself indicates an indifference to human life. Sarah, that's my name, don't wear it out. Judge, there's no question that a prima facie case has been laid. In addition to the 2-minute video and then the 22-second video 11 minutes later, we also have the defendant's inconsistent statements that she has made in regards to these events. And therefore, we have that factual issue for the jury to decide. She made statements on the 911 call and to law enforcement, both on the 24th and 25th, that I have no idea what happened. I just went to sleep. Everything was good. And then when confronted with her video on the 25th, we see that there are two distinctly different sets of statements that were made. So this is sufficient at this stage in time for a jury question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional argument, Mr. Beck?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you both for your arguments. The court, in viewing the light most favorable to the state, the court finds that the state has presented competent but rebuttal evidence to establish each of the elements of the charge contained in the information to the required level of a prima facie showing. As such, the defense's motion for a judgment of acquittal is denied.
Oh, surprise!
Defense, do you intend on putting on a case?
Yes.
Ms. Boone, I have a couple of questions to go over with you.
Judge, if I may.
Yes, sir.
In a normal criminal trial, my position has always been to put on the defendant last. Call whatever witnesses, put on the photographs, and then the client would be the last person to testify. Because of the nature of this charge and our defense, self-defense and battered spouse, we understand that we have to put on her first, Sarah first, for the court to then consider whether or not we established enough evidence for self-defense instruction. So she's going to have to be going first as a witness. I'm going to need a few moments with her based on everything that's going on and based on that denial of that motion for judgment of acquittal, to just go through it again, because I know you're going to ask to colloquy about all that. So I'm going to need a few moments with her. I don't know, 10 minutes maybe for the 4 lawyers, to meet with her. I don't know if we can do it here or maybe back there, but just a short meeting.
Sure, I'll give you that opportunity. But before you do that, ma'am, I don't want to go into any specifics of any conversations that you've had with any of your attorneys in this case. Mr. Owens has identified for the court his normal practice of calling a defendant last in a criminal case. In this case, he has advised that he wants to call you first. Without going into any discussions of any strategy that you've had with your attorneys, do you understand the strategy that Mr. Owens and your team will be utilizing in your defense?
Yes.
And are you in agreement with that strategy?
Yes.
All right. Counselor, you can have that opportunity to speak to her. The court will remain here. I don't know if they can, Officer Jones, can we let them back to have that conversation? Okay. All right. You can go back and have that conversation. The court will remain here. We'll be in a short recess for approximately 10 minutes. Thank you.
All right. 10 minutes before Ms. Boone takes the stand. So what they're going to do is they're going to talk to her, tell her what's going to happen. And then they're going to come out and the judge is going to explain that she doesn't have to testify. Are you sure you want to testify? Are you really, really sure you want to testify? Okay. And then they'll go for it. She understands Pop-Tarts, Dr. Pepper, and letter writing. And by the way, my blueberry Pop-Tarts were delish. Thank you, Sarah Boone, for putting that in my mind. And we do have a couple of other super chats here whilst waiting. Ooh la la, Pat, all the way from Paris, France. Member for 23 months, as she rightly states, almost 2 years of legal vices. Time flies. It certainly does. KT says, is Jeff drinking Boontang today? Nope, it's finished. We finished our Boontang suitcase cocktail, vodka and tang, for the easy joke. But it's finished for the day. We're moving on to heavier stuff. 200 Watt Studio says, Sarah thinks she has this in the bag. We already read that, didn't we? Well, you get a twofer. Duncan, Idaho, with the $5 says, nope. That's all there is to it. The detective said, because George is dead. And that is the exhaustive list of reasons she was arrested. No backsies. Yeah, that was stretching a little bit. Well, the cop said they're arresting her because George is dead. That's not a good enough reason. Yeah, that wasn't the only reason that she was being arrested. But nice try, defense. Again, those the JOAs, the judgment of acquittal, or directed verdict, they're called in other places. As the lawyer rightly said, they are largely formalities where they make it. The judge says nope, and let's continue. But occasionally that will happen. There's been a couple of recent cases where a judgment of acquittal or directed verdict was given. So you have to make them. That's just a basic part of trials. And Nancy Joe M, where's your foghorn for that? You get a foghorn with a big $50 super chat. Can I bribe you to stay? It's Sarah freaking Boone. I know, but I worked. How long did I work today? 10 hours. I worked 10 hours today. Now I was home for a couple of hours. Then I started doing this, and it is now, what time is it? It is now midnight here in Korea. It'll be 1 a.m. before they take the lunch break. And then they'll take a 90-minute break. And then who knows how long Sarah will be on the stand. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me embiggen this, embiggen us, me and Doggo here, while we do this during the break. Here's what I'll do. I will go to the lunch hour. We will shut the stream down as we and most people do, because this judge takes a 90-minute lunch break. He's very, very nice to the jurors. So I will try to take like an hour power nap. I've got a lot of nicotine from this cigar in me to keep me awake. So who knows, but I'll lay down for an hour and 15 minutes. And if there's any way I can possibly get up, I will do the afternoon stream. So stay tuned. I will do as much of it as I can. If I get it going, I will do it until I just can't go no more. And then I'll sleep maybe an hour or two before I have to go to the office. If it was Friday, I wouldn't care. But I've still got to start my Monday in the office only an hour or 2 or 3 after this wraps up. So I'll do my best for you, Nancy Jo M, and for the other 838 people that are currently watching. So that's what we'll do. We'll do it to lunch as normal. I'll try to take a little power nap for an hour and 15 minutes. We'll try to get the afternoon going. And if I do get the afternoon going, I will carry on through as long as I possibly can. If for some reason it gets cut short or I just don't make it, then we will do the same thing we did today. We'll watch it and catch up to live. All right, that's my deal to you people. This is not an everyday case. This is a small big one. This is a very short large case. So I'll do that. That's my promise to you. And Seed Fan 85 with the $5. I'm tuning in for the first time. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Seed Fan 85. I hope it's not the last time. Hope you stick around. I'm tuning in for the first time. Is Sarah going to be like that ambulance dude bro from Rittenhouse? Oh, I think Sarah will do okay on direct examination. And I think the prosecution is going to tear her apart on cross-examination. I think she'll get frustrated. Perhaps she'll be argumentative. And I'm expecting a little spice from her, which is why I really, really want to cover it live. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm expecting it to go off the rails during cross-examination. And Bush McFadden, did they call satin shirt and I missed it? No, they never called satin shirt for a witness. So I didn't get to wear the satin shirt today. But I'll do it for the closing statements and verdict watch. I'll wear my fuchsia satin shirt. Nancy Jo M, member for 21 months, says bribery works. I want to do it. I just needed a little motivation. So that's where we're sitting. Oh dear. Oh man. This has been an interesting trial. The judge is one of the best judges I've ever seen. I really, really can't speak highly enough of this judge. Absolutely professional, absolutely courteous to everybody, regardless of whether or not they deserve it. There's been some people that may not have deserved him being as calm and collected as he is. But I love this judge. Fantastic judge. Owens is doing the best he can. He doesn't have a lot to work with. I know he's floundering just because there's nothing for him to hang on to. He's got no life raft. He's got no life jacket. He's got no life ring to grab onto. He's just out there in the ocean, just trying to make sure that procedurally Sarah Boone's rights are protected, to make sure she gets a fair trial, and to make whatever arguments he can possibly conceive of to try to cast reasonable doubt on the prosecution. It's not working. It's not going to work, I don't think. So Owens, I'm giving him a pass because he stepped forward and was initially the only Florida lawyer that was willing to ensure that Sarah Boone's rights got protected at trial. The other lawyer, the bald guy, I don't know why he's here. I don't know why they let him say anything after that first Zoom appearance. The prosecutor is doing a fantastic job. All right, she's back from her comfort break. Now we're gonna get to hear what's going on. Okay, let's embiggen this. And by the way, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button. That would make me happy. We currently have 689 likes, 780 of you here. Let me bring this back up. Where are we? Here we are. Oh, right, I already brought it back up. And on the subscriptions, how are we doing? We've got 81,419 subscribers at this point. We need 81 more subscribers to get us to 81,500. I was hoping to get to 81,000 before the end of the trial. We blew that out of the water. We're halfway to 82. I want to see if we can get to 82,000 subscribers before the end of this trial. We've got probably another week or a little less than a week. So please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. For example, SeedFan85, I hope you were one of the people that hit the subscribe button. If not, do it. I don't grift for the super chats, but I'll grift for the subscriptions because that's fun. Looks like the doggo, we lost the doggo cam. Yeah, I need to reboot my system. So we'll struggle through till lunch, and then I'll reboot everything during the lunch hour. Let's get doggo again. Extra camera. There we go. Hello, Yoda. All right. Getting ready for the judge to ask her the magic questions. 200 watt studio. Thank you very much. I really thought that pregnant brain gambit would work. Again, I really don't think he was trying to make it sound like, well, you were pregnant, so you don't remember anything, right? But that's certainly the way it sounded to me. But it didn't, whatever he was trying to do with it, it didn't work. So, yeah. All right. He's still conferring intently with Sarah. He's taking his glasses off, and he's actually looking at her very sternly. Wonder what he's saying to her. And we've got the prosecutor looking at his watch going, can we get on with this? Let's see what's going on over in Yoda, in Strawberry Land here. Strawberry is just kind of licking her bed. Wow. All right, let's go. All right, we got the I don't know why he's here guy just coming in, sitting at the defense table. And even the judge isn't really sure why this guy's here. If you remember, during one of the final motion hearings, he's like, you just kind of parachuted into the case here. Prosecutors texting something on everybody's texting on their phone. Why not? They can text on their phone. Sarah can't. Jill asks, can you speak Korean fluently? I have lived in Korea about twice as long as I've lived in the States. I came here when I was 19, and I've essentially, other than law school and a year or so of university, I've been here 36 years and 1 month. Exactly. Well, yesterday was my 36 years and 1 month anniversary being in Korea. KT, is Jeff drinking the Boone tank today? I already finished it. I finished that a long time ago. Right. Is the prosecution done with their case? Yeah, the prosecution has already arrested. I said arrested, didn't I? Slidey Pie over there on Rumble. Yes, they have already arrested. They've had their judgment of acquittal motion. The judge shot that down, and now we're just waiting for Sarah to take the stand. which is happening as soon as the court gets back underway. Seed fans 85. I'm tuning. Wait, are we already that far? Huh. I need to scroll down for chat. That just came. I was scrolling down reading the messages. I'm way behind on reading the messages, aren't I? Jeff, will you ever move back? You think, yeah, probably. There now is, if you ask me now, probably in the relatively near future, in the next few years. But if you ask me on a good day, nah, it'll after I retire. But today, I may retire sooner than I thought. Nicola Maxwell ducking out, seeing spoilers. We can't have any spoilers. We're live, Nicola, unless you're like way behind. We're live. Duncan Idaho with a $5, waiting for the court to start. It's hilarious to think that Boone wanted a little snack tray provided to her so she could happily munch on Pop-Tarts while the suitcase videos play, right? Unfortunately for her, I got to munch on Pop-Tarts today. Oh, wait. Strawberry has left the building. Back to Yoda. Doop. That's funny. Hayden, are you joining us? That's a reference to a text message, a text conversation that Hayden and I had earlier today. Did the prosecutor read the case? It's Miranda before arresting their case. Yeah. No, they didn't. To be fair, I would also like a snack tray, says Island. Wow, this 10-minute break is turning into an event. Surprise. What made you move to Korea in the first place? I guess we can give the TLDR on that. I first came here when I was 19 years old as a good little Mormon missionary boy from Utah. And then immediately when I got back after 2 years, my university, they formed a sister relationship with a university here in Busan. And they said, is there anybody in our university who would like to be a guinea pig and go to Korea for like a year and a half, 2 years to do this exchange program? And my advisor said, I think I know somebody. So I came back immediately, was here for nearly 2 years, went back to law school, finished my last year of university, went to law school, and then came back here forever and ever and ever. So there we go. So that's the very, very short version of my very, very long story. It was the Korean barbecue. Oh, Johnny Somali, man. And I say this without any bravado. I'd lay that guy out in a frickin' heartbeat. He's good. He's lucky he's stayed. And people are like, yeah, you're just talking. No, I would take one for the team. Dude needs just to be put out of our misery. Was your son born in Korea? Yes. Because I've been here for 36 years, basically. Yes. Do you practice Korean law, and how is it different? I'm do the international stuff. About 70% of what I do is maritime related things. I pretty much do everything but go to court and write the motions. So it's you have to be a licensed Korean lawyer, and there's lots of foreign lawyers here, but none are licensed to practice in Korea because the bar exam is insane. But yeah, we're sort of classified as consultants or experts. So about 70% of what I do is maritime law. And if you're a longtime viewer, if you're not a longtime viewer, when there's not trials going on like this, we have Maritime Monday, where we talk about ship accidents, collisions, sinkings, disasters, cannibalism, good old things, good old wrecks, new wrecks, current things. So that's probably about 70% of what I do is maritime related. And the other 30% is boring corporate stuff, setting up companies, writing out contracts, and things like that. Now That's what they do. Cannibals and mutinies and degloving. Oh dear. Yeah, silent PS. I need to find another good cannibalism case. Oh, and also for those of you that have been followers of the Maritime Monday, I'm trying to get my friend Josh back on, commander from the U.S. Navy, to tell some other naval accident stories. Have you ever seen the Marilyn Monroe statue in Korea? No. I didn't know there was one. What are you barking at, Straubs? What do you want? What do you want back there? You want this? Is that your toy you want? Or do you just want pets? Doc needs to learn to speak English. She's giving me the I want something bark, but I don't know what it is she wants. I'm giving her some scratches here. Oh my, what is happening? I have to keep checking to make sure that I haven't paused it accidentally. We've currently got 809 people here waiting for Sarah Boone to take the stand. They said 10 minutes, and that was a long time ago. Cherry says, my store did not have blueberry Pop-Tarts, so I had to get raspberry. I had 2 boxes of Pop-Tarts sent from the States, and they just arrived today. So I had my frosted blueberry. I've also got some frosted strawberry because chat told me to. Okay, let's see. We can't cut away because as soon as we cut away, they'll come back. But what we can do is we can say hello to Aussie Overlord.
Hello.
What's up?
Not a lot. I briefly toyed with whether or not I should just join on my phone, but I figured that if I'm laying down in bed, it greatly increases the chances of snoring. So I got up and went to the computer.
Well, good. All right. Do we get to see your lovely, happy, smiling face? Or not?
Just keep in mind that it's 2 a.m.
Yes, it is 2 a.m. for Aussie Overlord. So that's how much he wants to see Sarah testify. And, if he can do it at 2 a.m., I can give it the good old college try.
There you go, people. I'm doing this for you. So get over there and subscribe.
Okay, so Sarah Boone, what are we expecting, Hayden? Or are we expecting her to crash and burn? Where are you sitting on our like and subscribe poll?
That's a good question.
Is she going to crush the prosecutor? Is she going to be okay?
Oh no, it's going to be a disaster.
It's
going to be an absolute disaster.
All right, we're back on the record.
We're about to find out right
CF
now.
2603, State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. State appearances for the record.
David Kester on behalf of the state. William J. from the state.
Defense?
James Owens from the Spoon.
Let's effing go.
Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone.
Kevin Zelle on behalf of Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing the same black blazer and dark blue blouse from this morning. She is in custody, however, not wearing any restraints, so she'll be able to stand when our jury enters, and if she is called to testify in this matter, she will be able to walk to the witness stand. Ms. Boone, I have a couple of questions to go over with you. Similarly to our conversations earlier today, I don't want to know about any of the substance of any conversations you've had with your attorneys, just whether or not you've had certain conversations. So far, you've been present throughout the entire trial process. You've been seated at counsel's table. You've had the opportunity to observe the evidence presented by the state, as well as the direct and cross-examination of the state's witnesses. Are you satisfied with your attorney up and until this point?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to ask you some questions again about specific conferences and conversations you have with your attorneys. I don't want to know those specifics, just whether or not those things have been had. Have you had the opportunity to discuss with your attorneys whether or not you would like to testify as a witness in this case?
Yes.
Do you need any additional time to discuss that matter with your attorneys?
No.
Have your attorneys discussed with you the potential benefits and potential harms of testifying as a witness in this case?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the advice from your counsels?
Yes.
Do you understand that attorneys can make most of the decisions about trial strategy? They cannot determine whether or not a defendant testifies or not. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Not even the court can interfere with the defendant's right to make that decision. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that it is your decision and your decision alone?
Yes.
While counsel can give you advice on whether or not it would be wise for you to testify in this case, do you understand that you can ignore counsel's advice because the final decision is yours?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you hear me explain to the jury at the beginning of the trial how the right to remain silent is absolute, and the fact that a defendant did not testify cannot be considered as evidence of guilt or influence their verdict in any way?
Yes.
Before a jury begins its deliberations, the court will read another jury instruction if you decide not to testify. This instruction orders the jury not to consider your silence as evidence of guilt or to consider your decision at all. Would you like me to read that instruction for you at this time?
Yes.
It is instruction 3.9a, entitled Defendant Not Testifying. The Constitution requires the state to prove its accusations against the defendant. It is not necessary for the defendant to disprove anything, nor is the defendant required to prove her innocence. It is up to the state to prove the defendant's guilt by evidence. The defendant exercised a fundamental right by choosing not to be a witness in this case. You must not view this as an admission of guilt or be influenced in any way by her decision. No juror should ever be concerned that a defendant did or did not take the witness stand to give testimony in the case. Do you have any questions about this instruction?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you choose to testify, you are waiving your right to remain silent?
Yes.
That means once you begin to answer questions, you have to answer all questions unless I instruct you not to answer a question. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You cannot pick and choose which questions you want to answer and not answer. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you refuse to answer any questions, the court can impose sanctions, such as holding you in contempt, striking your entire testimony, and instructing the jury not to consider any of your testimony? Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you choose to testify, you will also be subject to cross-examination and impeachment. That means the state could ask you about any
That's gonna
prior
be
felony
brutal.
convictions or convictions for crimes of dishonesty if you have any such convictions. If you have any such convictions, the questions will be limited to whether you have such convictions and the number of same. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you aware if you have any such convictions?
Yes.
State? Are you aware of any felony convictions or convictions for crimes of dishonesty?
No, I believe she's answering an affirmative. She's aware that she doesn't.
Okay, so you have no such convictions. Okay, thank you for that clarifications, ma'am. As there are no convictions, and that number is not in dispute, the state will not be permitted to inquire into those matters. Have you had enough time to discuss your decision to testify or not testify with your attorneys?
Yes.
Again, do you need any additional time?
No.
Has anyone forced you, threatened you to get you to testify or not testify in this case?
No.
Has anyone made any promises to you to get you to testify
This is
or not
800
testify?
ways of asking, are you really sure you want to do this?
Are you satisfied?
Yeah, because
with your
generally this
counsel's
is not a
advice
good
so far
idea, but in this case it's required.
Are you making this decision freely and voluntarily?
I am.
Did anyone force you, threaten you, or coerce you to testify in this case?
No.
Would you like to testify or not testify as a witness in this case?
Testify.
Okay. And ma'am, similarly, after you've had the opportunity to converse with your lawyers again, I want to confirm that you're on board with the strategy that they've utilized in your defense in this case,
Yes, I understand.
including calling you first.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to remind you, ma'am, that you can change your mind. You just have to let your lawyers know before the jury comes back in. Do you understand?
Yes.
State, anything else we need to address?
Just that the law of the case is that there should be testimony from the defendant of an overt act that particular day before there is testimony about reputation evidence, prior instances of violence, or any of the ancillary things that come in self-defense.
Holland case speaks for itself. Anything further?
I do want to talk about that, but as it relates to her right to remain silent or testify, I have nothing about that.
Okay. Then what do we need to address with regard to Holland?
Well, I've got three issues. One is Holland. The other is I've got these gloves. My client and I would like to take a few moments to look at the suitcase and to look at the bag. And then the third thing is that the state had filed that motion for the in-camera hearing. I don't know. Maybe we need to hear that before she testifies.
Court's not going to address that at this time.
Okay.
We'll address that later in the proceedings.
So the two things, number one, of course, I've got a lot of photographs about the prior violence that George Torres committed on Sarah Boone, and there's a dispute about whether or not I have to establish an overt act that she responded to, that she considered an imminent threat, and that she took evidence or she took action to either block or physically restrain George Torres from committing an act of violence on her. But Judge, if you remember, during the 2-hour interrogation, the officers make mention that they are aware of the prior incidences of violence. So I believe the door has been open, that I can go into that based on those statements by the two detectives. If you remember, they introduced this 2-hour video. She says, he comes at me all the time. I think eventually Sarah Boone realized that they had her phone and they were going to see pictures. They were going to see videotapes of evidence that George Torres committed acts of violence on Sarah Boone. I think at that point she changed her tone about George. She was trying to protect George, but then she realized she would have to disclose some of the acts that had been committed on her by George Torres. And so she did talk about him coming at me, and we've had issues before. And the officers I can't remember exactly what they said, but yeah, we're well aware of, I don't know if they said the prior acts, or we're aware of the domestic violence, whatever the case may be. I submit that opens the door. That was during their case in chief. They chose to play that entire video. And so I think I can talk about the prior bad acts before the event in question chronologically. And I've got a bunch of photographs that go into physical evidence of her injuries as a result of George's violence.
Okay. Response, if any.
Judge, we're asking for the court to maintain its ruling. We already read an instruction that the police are allowed to tell her things to try and get reactions from her. She affirmatively denied there was an overt act that night to the police. The court, in its ruling pre-trial, I've been trying to get some guidance on this, reviewed Ms. Boone's most recent statements on the matter, and there is no overt act thus testified to. So we are hopeful that we will maintain that ruling. I don't know how it prejudices her or her team in any way to a strict 2020 before we go into reputation evidence, prior instances of violence, or matters of house and evidence.
Any other further argument, Mr. Owens?
No.
All right. I don't find that the officer's statements are character evidence, and you're looking for specific instances of conduct, which are going to be utilized for those specific purposes for reputation or violence to establish the fear component that the case law speaks about. Florida Supreme Court decision in Holland is clear that that overt act needs to be established before any of that evidence is submitted. I don't find that it's an opening of the door, and I'm going to rely on what the Florida Supreme Court has told us to do.
Judge, I've got to get the clerk to mark some photographs, and then my client and I need to take that suitcase out of that box and inspect it, play with the zipper a little bit, and then also take that bat out of that paper bag and inspect it before she testifies.
Any response?
I'm just confused why.
Trial could have been avoided if she played with the zipper a little bit.
More than the court has been off the bench to get these photographs marked. The defense team has been on board for quite some time. They did not request a second evidence view of the physical evidence that Ms. Boone already had an opportunity to do while she was pro se. It's 11:25. We need to try the case.
Judge, I think that she had that evidence view, I think, with Billy Lane. I believe that was the day after I filed my notice of appearance, or maybe it was the day I filed my notice of appearance. I don't remember exactly, but it had already been previously scheduled. I was in Milton, so they went ahead and did it that morning, I believe at the jail. I believe the evidence.
Any particular reason why it hasn't been done in the last 45 minutes?
Because
when I sent my juror out,
Ooh,
my jury
zing.
out.
I've been meeting with my client about her rights to testify or not, and other related matters. So
You got a team.
in terms of not giving her this evidence,
in terms of anything that the state just discussed?
I've just been busy with my client.
Okay. How much time do you need in order to pre-mark these exhibits and look at the baseball bat and the suitcase, which have been entered into evidence?
I would think 15 minutes.
Oh my God. Judge is not
I'm very concerned because it is 11:25.
Oh, come on. No. No, that's not me. That's them.
Early lunch, it's 11:30. Let's take an early lunch. We've got witnesses coming this afternoon anyway. If her testimony ends before 5, we've got 1 or 2 witnesses that are here. And then I believe tomorrow is Wednesday. We've got Dr. Brannon that's going to be here first thing Wednesday morning. And then I believe Dr. Harper's not going to be here till Thursday morning. So we're going to have a little gap in time unless we've got to put on several officers about prior acts and all that. But I think for purposes of this, Judge, in the abundance of caution, I feel like I need to go over this evidence with my client before she testifies. And I have not had a chance to view that evidence other than seeing it here today. But I think I need to do that with her before she testifies.
Okay, can the parties approach for a moment?
Oh, please,
That's an
tell
unhappy
anyone.
judge.
Yes, it is.
Exactly. That is an unhappy judge. Oh, no. She was supposed to have been on the stand an hour and a half ago by the defense's timeline. That didn't happen. Yeah, the judge is pissed for a good reason. Exactly. He should be pissed. Yeah, seriously. Look at this shiny new issue I just pulled out of my pocket. Well, I had him pulling it out of another place, not his prison pocket, but
K-Mac brings up a good point. Do you think it's enough for sanctions?
no, I don't think I don't think it's sanctionable, but it certainly does not put the judge in a position of liking you or giving you leeway on anything. We knew he had enough when he said, well, what the hell were you doing during the 45 minutes? Oh, dear.
When the judge comes at you that snarky, yeah.
Judge rolled his eyes big time emotion. We already had the judge showing emotion. That was checked off on the bingo card a long time ago. Jeff was staying awake for this. For us, get her up there now. I would actually prefer they take the early lunch, and if they go till 5 o'clock, that'll be 6 a.m. my time. I'll be able to squeeze in another 3 hour nap before another full day of work. No worries. It's just whether I can get up in an hour and a half or not. Oh wow, this is a lengthy tongue lashing they're getting.
Yeah, which leads me to suspect that hopefully the judge is tearing shreds off them, as he well should be.
Yeah, they've done nothing but waste time today. Justified or not, it was their own timeline that said we got at most 30 minutes of cross-examination. Then we'll make our judgment of acquittal motion, and then we should have her on the stand by 10:30 a.m. It didn't happen.
Nope.
Oh, hey, there's Jules. Hi, Jules. Jules is there front and center. Our eyes in the courtroom.
Imagine Borowski with this trial. Oh my God, she would have been on the stand days ago.
Oh, hi, Jules. She's smiling at the camera. Hi, Jules. Even the cameraman doesn't know what to do at this point. He's like, let's just point the camera around at things.
Well, I mean, what do you do? You can't. I mean, he could be showing their backs while they get their threads torn off them, but then there's the possibility of influencing. Wait, the jury's not there. Fuck it, cameraman, put it on them. Lady in the pink jacket's losing patience, as is everybody.
The lady in the pink jacket, I think that's one of George's relatives.
Oh yeah, so she'd want Boone on the stand as well, so she can,
because they're
watch her
sitting
make
in
an
the
absolute
front row
idiot out of
behind them.
herself.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, never mind. I'm just making banter.
I'm saying she's probably family member because she's sitting in the front row directly behind the defense table. That's usually where the families of the prosecution table. Didn't mean to say defense. Getting a little punchy myself. Sarah, speaking of punch, Sarah wanted her juice box. Nope, she didn't get one, but I've got my Capri Sun, like a 12-year-old. They taste worse than I remember. I haven't had a Capri Sun in probably 30 years. They taste worse than I remember. And plus, they also have the added taste of paper because of the paper straw. So it's like watered down orange juice with paper flavoring.
And look, I get the idea that it's supposed to protect the turtles or whatever, but I mean, come on.
Sherry Dawson says Jules is cheating on you with recovery addict. She's on several channels. Lunchtime is my time. She has pregame with people, and then she has a recovery addict for breaks and things. So we're all covered. Jules is everybody's go-to. She's good at what she does. Paper straw. Why don't you just drink real? Because she didn't want real OJ, Mary Jane. She specifically requested juice boxes like Capri Sun. So that's why we're having Capri Sun. It's not fun if we drink something she didn't ask for. So that's why we're doing it. It's the forbidden snack tray. We had forbidden Pop-Tarts. Now we're having forbidden Capri Sun. In Korea, Capri Sun makes where'd we go? Here we are. Capri Sun makes kids better at soccer. I've seen the commercial. Oh man. This is going on long.
I'm actually a little bit mad at the cameraman now because I would love to see how animated the judge is.
Yeah. We know he's going to call for an early lunch, but he's not going to be happy about
it. Oh, hell no.
What about forbidden makeup? Yeah, we're not doing forbidden makeup. I'm definitely not doing that. Yes, Papery Sun. That's what I'm drinking. Silent PS. Papery Sun. Sebastian Muller, what did you miss? You have missed the defense screwing around all morning, bringing up new stuff every chance they get, and now asking for an early lunch before Sarah testifies. The judge is extraordinarily unhappy and has called the counsel to his bench, and he is probably reading them the riot act. Jennifer with the 2 pounds, is your Tang liquid or powder? It's a powder, just the way Tang was meant to be. You got to mix it yourself because of astronauts. They can't take all the liquid stuff. They astronauts. Defense is killing it, honestly.
I'm thinking the defense is going to wind up in a suitcase.
So are they going to find out after screwing around? I think they're in the find out phase right now as we speak. Nope.
We have some movement.
I guess I thought he was coming to take Sarah away. Wish we had something to talk about right now.
Well, you've got 800 people watching. Why don't you spruik your Effort Friday coming up?
Oh, yeah, Effort Friday. This Friday, we're going to have a panel of guests on.
It is 11:35. Councils have matters that they need to address with Madam Clerk for the pre-marking of exhibits, and along with the review of the suitcase and bat, which were previously entered into evidence. I'm going to bring based on the agreement of the parties, I'm going to bring our jury panel in at this time, release them for lunch, give them a similar instruction to the instructions they've been provided earlier, and we will commence promptly at 1 o'clock this afternoon. State Any disagreement with the battle plan so far?
No, sir.
Same question, Mr. Owens.
No, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and stand by, bring it back in our panel.
Well, thanks for staying up so late, Hayden. You're welcome to come back at 4 o'clock in the morning if you want.
Well, like I said, I'll have my phone on loud. If you actually manage to make it awake, I'll try and drag my ass out of bed. You might get lucky. Scarlett had a pretty runny nose tonight when she went to bed, so there's a chance she's staying home from school. If that's the case, we all get to sleep in.
Not me. Hurry up, jurors.
State to recognize our jury.
Yes, sir.
No, it's fine, Phoebe.
I think you all can be
We already
seated.
discussed it before we went to bed.
Members of the jury, again, once you're seated and comfortable, if you could raise your hands to confirm that you complied with the court's instructions. All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Matters with counsel took a little bit longer than we anticipated. We're going to take an earlier break today. It's 11:35. We anticipate the defense putting on a case this afternoon, and we don't want to get into it and then have to break a half an hour into it. So we're going to go ahead and take that break at this time. I'm going to give you a similar instruction as I've read to you over the last couple of days. Jurors, you must not conduct any investigation on your own. This includes reading newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get information related to this case or the people and places involved in this case. This applies whether you are in the courthouse, at home, or anywhere else. You must not visit places mentioned in the trial or use the internet to look at maps or pictures to see any place discussed during the trial. Jurors, do not watch local news or read local newspapers. Jurors must not have any discussions of any sort with friends, family members, or even your fellow jurors about the case or the people and places involved. So do not let anyone make comments to you or ask questions about the trial. I want to stress again that just as you must not talk about this case face-to-face, you must not talk about this case by using an electronic device. You must not use phones, computers, or other electronic devices to communicate. Do not send or accept any messages related to this case or your jury service. Do not discuss this case or ask for advice by any means at all, including posting information on an internet website, chat room, or blog. With that, members of the jury, I thank you for your time and your service and your attentiveness, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you.
All right, so what's going to happen here is Jules is running out of the courtroom as soon as the jury leaves. We're going to talk with her for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll shut this down. So the 820 of you that are still watching, come back at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So it's an hour and 20 minutes from now.
Y'all may be seated. Thank you. State and the defense, if you could please review those items and please mark every defense exhibit at this time with Madam Clerk, and I will see you all to commence promptly at 1 p.m. Court's in recess. Thank you.
All right, so Jules will be joining us here in just a minute or so, and like I said, then we'll shut it down. We'll start right up at 1 p.m. Eastern, which will be 2 a.m. here. So going back, I don't know what time that is in UK time. I've lost the ability to do math right now. I'm doing math here in my noggin.
Whatever time it is in 90 minutes, people, just get your asses back here.
Yeah. Let's get back here in 90 minutes. I don't know why. I don't even know why I'm trying. All right. Let's wait for Jules to get here. And then we'll talk to her. Oh, okay. Never mind. She's going to stay in the courtroom to watch Sarah inspect the suitcase. That said, okay, never mind. That sounds like more fun. There. All right. So we are going to shut this down right now then. And I will see you all. Maybe we'll see Hayden too in an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to put up the link now. So hang tight here. I'm going to try to set this up immediately on the fly so that I can redirect to myself. And I should have done this before, but I wasn't thinking clearly. Should I do that, Hayden? What do you think?
I mean, if you can vamp for like the time that it'd take to download, I think what would be better is if you go to one of your previous Sarah Boone videos and download it and then share it so that you can keep this stream continuing.
I don't want to keep this stream continuously alive.
Okay. In that case, yes, redirect quickly.
Yeah. All right. So tell us who you are and why you're here and what you're doing and how we can find you, Hayden, while I redirect myself.
Jesus Christ, just flick to me like that while I'm half asleep. Guys, I am Aussie Overlord. For those of you that don't know, I am an attorney here in Melbourne, Australia. I cover the WTF-style news, and we just had, because I skipped out on yesterday, today we had Body Cam Tuesdays, where we watched some crazy people get arrested. We watched a very, I want to say, high woman, who was also extraordinarily tall, get crash tackled by 3 different cops. And yeah, basically we just try and bring a little bit of levity, a little bit of information. So I will be joining Jeff for his Effort Friday this weekend. The weekend after, I'll be doing my membership drive stream. And yes, Burberries, we are both going to have to go back to sleep. But yeah, keep an eye out, guys, because To Be Advised is on more or less daily. Occasionally I cover trial streams. We do a retro rewatch trial during the week as well. At the moment, we're partway through the Jessica Chambers first trial. Spoiler alert, there was a second trial. And yeah, just try and enjoy ourselves, basically. Sometime tomorrow, I'll be going off on a rant about a certain senator here in Australia who has pissed me right the F off, which is going to be fun. And how much longer do I need to vamp?
I'm making the thumbnail as we speak. Thumbnail done. About another 2 minutes. You can do that.
Okay.
Effort Friday. Explain my Effort Friday, because this Friday is going to be an Effort Friday PM US time.
Well, so Effort Friday is when Jeff corrals cats and gets a whole bunch of us on stream to keep him entertained. While he, I mean, it used to be a drinking stream. Used to be, $100 shots, all that sort of stuff to keep things going. Now he has a wheel. A wheel where for every $100 he gives a spin of it, and it's either a punishment or some sort of prize for him. Personally, I very much enjoy the $100 Temu spending sprees. Actually, have you opened that box yet?
Nope, we're going to do that on Effort Friday. We'll open last month's Temu box on this month's Effort Friday.
Well, there you go. I
can't even remember what's in it. I just remember there's a neon sign about not doing cocaine in the bathroom. That's all I remember that we bought.
Yes, Disturbed one. It's that one. Because, I mean, the ideas sort of bounce around. Here on YouTube, a lot of us content creators, we're very much like radio stations and that we steal ideas from each other. Hence why when Jeff was doing Effort Friday, I started doing Source Saturday, and that was before my liver gave out. Ironically, my wife is encouraging me to do more drinking streams, which I think is hilarious. Hayden's the best wingman of LordTube. I try. But in order to rip off the idea, I bought my own spinning wheel today, so I'm going to have that for the... But I mean, this one actually sits there and goes... So that's going to be fun.
Okay, I have redirected myself.
Thank God.
So this Friday will be my Effort Friday stream. We'll have a big panel of guests on if I remember to invite anybody tomorrow. And we'll just do that. Every $100 that comes in for gifted memberships, purchase memberships, super chats, Venmos, PayPal, whatever, all of that gets added up. Every $100 comes in, we spin the wheel and we do whatever it says. We got some rewards and punishments, some good food. We've also got some steamed silkworm larvae, some blood sausage, some steamed liver. And I found some horrific things called breeze balls or something, which appear to be, so you know what they are. Yeah, whatever those
It's
are.
going to be a fun night, people.
There's 2 of those that I found in the store, so we'll have to find out what that's all about. All right, everybody, I'm going to shut this down now, and then we're going to redirect to myself. So Checkman will go live in 1 hour and 15 minutes, 1 hour and 14 minutes. All right, I got to get to sleep. All right, everybody, we'll see you. Mods, thank you so much for being there for today. And maybe if you're not asleep in 90 minutes, come back and chat. Thank you so much for being super generous and super awesome with all the super chats and the gifted memberships and the purchase memberships and all that. We will see you in 1 hour and 15 minutes ish. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Hayden, for doing
what I could.
Nothing while you wait for me here. All right.
I tried.
That's it, everybody. I'm out. Bye. See you in a few minutes.